G'day everyone, Maxi here. Obviously a bit of a different voice welcoming you today to the 7th installment of the System and the Hustle Squad podcast. But JP's got me on the introduction today, so I'm going to give her a whirl. But basically, myself and Mayo flew down to Melbourne last Friday on the 16th of December just to finally meet up with the boys, chat some shit, and obviously film this podcast, in which Mayo and I kind of just wanted to both touch on, give some insight and share what we've been able to achieve so far after starting match betting and the system around a year ago, and how much of a piss take it's been so far in regards to the profits we've made and how much ease we've been able to make the profits in. We also share some funny stories around what we tell our parents and what our parents tell their friends about what we do to make our money and how we make so much money online. We've both made close to $50,000 so far, which is honestly unreal. And we just also wanted to touch on how we've been able to both manage and fit this into our own lifestyles. We hope you guys really do enjoy this podcast as much as we both enjoyed filming it. It was an absolute blast to film, and I definitely recommend giving this one a listen.
My name is Mayo, more commonly known as PointsBet account moderator. I also came down to Melbourne to film the podcast with the boys, and it was definitely a bloody hoot. Basically, coming into the podcast, I wanted to share my insights into how I've managed to create my own system to utilise the HUSSLA squad to better follow Trumpy's tips, and how that scaled up my operation, which allows me to multiply my profits. As well as that, I spoke about my worst day in my 15-month match betting career, where I let my emotions get the better of me and I took my anger out against my wall. If you want to reach out to the boys, feel free to do so via Instagram or check the relevant links in this video description. I hope you all enjoy, and make sure you show JP some love with that fresh new cut of his.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the System and the Hustler Squad podcast. We've got two special guests here today, Mayo and Max, who've come in from Interstate.
Formerly known as Wally.
Wally. So Max is Wally, and we've got the PointsBet moderator as well, PointsBet account moderator. He actually moderates the accounts over at PointsBet.
He's good at it.
But welcome on board, guys. You've obviously flown in this morning, picked you up nice and early, and just had some nice breakfast. And now we can just chat some shit with the boys. So also welcome Tom and Steve.
Cheers, mate.
Today we're probably just going to talk about nothing planned at all. We just talk shit about kind of stories around betting, around what you guys have been able to achieve at such a young age, and I guess inspire others to be able to not only see what you've done, but also now what can be built from that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if we want to get into... Do you guys want to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you've been able to achieve first, or do you just want to talk shit and ask questions?
I reckon just give us like a rundown of how long you've been in the communities and probably how much you've made, and then we can just go from there to answer some more specific questions and then talk some rubbish about what being in the community involves. So maybe if you want to start, Mayo, give us a rundown of how long you've been in the community, what you've been doing, and maybe a rough profit figure to start.
Yeah, right. I've started following the system. It would have been, exact date, not sure, probably 15, 16 months ago or something like that. Actually, funnily enough, a mate introduced me to it. He was following you guys with like a $1 unit size, and I was like,
Was he turning over bonus bets on a $1 unit size?
No, he was just gambling.
You wouldn't think.
He was gambling. He was gambling.
65 cents.
I was like, I'll hop on, see how it is. Yeah, I started off with the $5 unit size. It wasn't flash, but, when I did join, I was in high school. So, it was a bit hard on a Wednesday and things like that. But as I got used to it, I made the decision when I kind of understand what you guys did, and I contacted JP, joined the HUSSLA squad. Probably only started with about $2,000. Been working my way up since, and I've probably scaled and raised things up definitely over the last 6 months-ish. It's when I've probably been making the real money from match betting. But yeah, other than that, just been smooth sailing from then on.
Rough profit figure? Like you don't have to give it exact
Yeah,
figures, but are we talking 50 plus, 100 plus? What are we talking?
Should be aimed to hit 50 probably in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
Would be a nice...
$50.
Yeah, $50 cents.
It would be nice to
For those
hit
at home,
before
that's
New Year's.
$50,000. 50
AEDs.
kilos.
Yeah.
50 sheets.
Don't want my mates
50
giving
racks.
me shit now that I've unveiled the figure.
Nah, that's fine, mate.
fine.
They have the opportunity to be able to do that as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they're probably not,
Yeah.
but that's
it'd
it,
be a
mate.
good New Year's present, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's nice.
Going from, working 30 hours a week at McDonald's, like just wanted to kill myself the whole time to work
for $300.
Yeah, to
But
work.
you were we did a video with you last year. Probably people remember you with the guy who was working at Macca's. You probably only made 2,000 back then.
Oh, mate.
But now obviously that's been multiplied quickly.
Something we'll touch on later as well is scaling. I want to talk to the fellas about that, but we won't do that now. Yeah. So that's awesome. So you're about to tick over 50 kilos, which is huge. Maxi, why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown? How long? I know you've done we've done a little podcast with you, but people wouldn't have seen that, and this is probably going to be a bit bigger. So how long? First of all, how old are you?
18.
18. And so how long have you been doing it for since you turned 18?
Yeah, well, it was kind of. I got the 3 month.
I remember that. I was just about to ask. That was you. You're like, I'm about to turn 18.
I was 17.
Yeah.
Watched their lives. Got the 3 month. Yeah. Waited till I was 18 and pretty much jumped on straight away. I remember one of my first days I was at watching the footy finals for just like local, and just placing like $10 bets here and there, screaming, cheering. But yeah, same kind of similar situation to Mayo. Was at school, just putting bets on, and then it just like clicked, and I was like, let's go full kind of
have a crack.
Yeah, have a crack at it, and then exploded from there. Went from $12.50 units to 25, 50, and now at hundreds, obviously, and similar 50K just ticked over in a bit over a year. So yeah, it's pretty unreal.
It's a lot of money, isn't it? I think what's very interesting with both of you, and it's great to hear as well, is that you've both started on pretty sort of conservative unit sizes. Obviously, Mayo, you started on $5 unit size and was $12.50 you're starting. Yes, those starting unit sizes. And you're both pretty sort of comfortable doing that. You wouldn't have been making, a lot of money for those first sort of month or two on those unit sizes, but you would have been consolidating the concepts, understanding everything, getting the confidence up in it. And then now have a look at you. All of a sudden, you can literally see how that sort of profit graph just literally exponentially increases.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's always better to make the mistakes when you're on a $5 unit size. You don't want to jump in and have $50, $100 unit size and then realise, you've mucked up something and you've put on the wrong bed, or, you've, mixed up your Dutching or something and you've just lost that much money. With $5, it's a bit...
I was going to ask, when you started, was two-way Dutching or turning a bonus over, was that a foreign concept? Had you heard of that before? Did you know what that entailed? No.
Nah, I absolutely know nothing. I didn't even know you could beat the bookies. I'm like, they're that big, there's no way you can make money off of them.
Fair enough. And what were you guys, if you got bonuses, which you probably would have been before the system, just punting them or?
Oh, yeah. You'd put on, I don't know, well, for me personally, it was like, I'll chuck a 3-4 legs, same game multi on a footy, get a bonus from it.
Pretty standard.
Probably put on like another 15-leg multi or something.
Yeah, that's nice. I think the good thing about both of you as well is in some form or capacity, I know Maxi now does a lot of the customer service stuff for us, which is awesome. Like, you've been in the community for almost a year. You're able to help new people. And it's good that we have, instead of them hearing from myself, JP or Steve, or they're like, these guys are fucking losers. These guys, they're no fun at parties. These guys, they're so structured. They're so boring. But to have people that have been in our community now help other people, I think it's easier for the people that start now. Not only do they have more content, but they hear from people that have actually been through exactly. So like, I listen to some of the stuff you speak to new subs about, and it's like, mate, like, I understand the frustration, or I know we didn't make much profit this week, or I know you got heaps of bonuses to turn over and it can be a bit of a pain, but I've done it, man, and now I'm, I started $12.50, now I'm $100 unit sizes. And Mayo, you do a lot of stuff in like the free chat, which is awesome, and you help out a lot of the SA subscribers who, have very different promos, and they can get a bit overwhelmed, or the promo list isn't going to work for you, but you can do this, you can do that, and I think you both do a good job of when people are in the chat and they're new and they're like, oh fuck, this is frustrating, or we desperately need a winner, or it's a tough day, and we're like 4 races in, and new blokes are like, relax,
it keeps
boys.
it personal as well.
If you're here for 12 months, like, you're not going to remember this 4 race period where we didn't back a winner. So I think it's nice to have you guys in the community now and helping out massively. I think it's a bit of a reality check for people. 12, 18 months ago when we were making content, people, as I said, would think that myself, JP and Steve, these guys are just losers that don't gamble, and they're all maths and they're making a little bit of money, or this is a full-blown fucking scam. And now here we are recording our, 10th, 15th podcast or interview, and more legitimate content. You blokes are here. You both nearly made 50, or you've both made 50K. So it's 100K between two 18, 19-year-olds. Like,
can we just think about how much cash that is?
It's unreal.
We were joking about
50K in 12 months.
They're just like, oh, yeah, how much you made? Oh, yeah, 55K. And then he's like, I have 46K. And it's like, bro, you've made like,
They don't even
most
bat an
people at your
eyelid.
age would have
Oh,
$1,500
I had nothing.
bucks in their bank account.
Literally.
And, but it's not only like, I don't care about the money. It's, you'll like, without knowing it now, be literally 10 years ahead of most of your, like not competitors, but people your age are like going to be behind you. And this is a massive head start. What were we saying? It's the tax. What's that, like 90K salary?
Oh, if you
80K?
you're probably like around 80, 75, 80. If you
obviously it's
if you're on
tax-free,
if you're on like a 75K salary, that's what it would be after tax. So like that's, and you guys still have the ability. I think you don't work anymore on the side, or you do.
So I was the only reason I was working 6 hours a week delivering pizzas just to tell family and friends, look, I do have a job. just to seem
Just for that?
I didn't like it. And, thinking about it, I was like, why am I doing this for like 0.25 units an hour?
How about Maxi? He's like, I'll catch an Uber, it'll be 1 unit.
Half a
a
unit
unit.
from the
You
airport.
just start talking in units.
So I
legit.
pick him up, save
Like,
half a
you'll
unit.
be at a bar and you're ordering a drink. It's like, fuck, 0.15 units on that. Come on, mate. Like, you start thinking about things in units and it just, it cracks me up. But nah, I'm not working much at the moment. Just enjoying a little break.
But you do a bit of, you work.
Yeah, I
don't you?
still work.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's the other thing. People are like, I don't have time to do it, or I don't want to commit to it, or it's such effort. And like, you're still working on the side whenever you want, which is the beauty of it. You're still working normally, and just
Like it can become an effort, but when you look at the hours you're putting into work
Yeah.
for the return, or the couple hours you put in a night for like what this can return and does return,
Yeah,
it just
I think
outweighs it.
the misconception is like when you start doing match betting, you're just going to make all this money, and some weeks it'll be a slog. Like you'll be doing 20 hours or 15 hours for you guys that are making more money, and you might only make $500, $600, $700, and you'll be like, fuck, that's
Only.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like you give perspective, but that's like, that's a shit week, and then other weeks you might make like 2 or 3K from doing the exact same amount of work, and it's like, fuck. It's
and you're
worth
working
it
on the
again.
side.
It just all comes out in the wash, You just got to keep
absolutely.
at it.
So, and as JP said, like, gives you a massive head start to have that kind of money. Like, when I was 18, not only did I only have like $200 when I got back from schoolies, but also like until I was like 22, I would still be like my spare cash. I still would have been punting it and stuff. Like, that's the other thing that is not taken into consideration. Like, you're not going to gamble.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you might still have a punt, whatever, but you're not going to lose thousands or tens of thousands over the next 10, 15 years like most other 18 to 30-year-olds, because you know that you can make profit doing this other thing, which I reckon is sick, and that's something that nobody ever factors in when they're looking at the unit's profit or how much you make from match betting.
Yeah.
It's like, but how much are you not going to lose from understanding that punting is ridiculous
Yeah.
if you do it every week?
I think what Steve was saying on the podcast you guys uploaded yesterday about like the quick, succession of instant gratification that like the youth are looking for. Like just literally from the school I go to, the amount of people that punt, like out of 180 cohort of boys, you could probably get away with saying 33, like 1 in 3 are gambling like at least $10 a week.
Yeah.
And as soon as they hit like, working a high school job, $20 an hour, whatever, as soon as you hit like full-time employment, if they've still got that in the back of their mind, that's when it starts to get like a bit dangerous.
That's what was also, so I think you might have said it or Jimmy said it as well. It's like you're building these habits, you're building these neural pathways. He broke it down very scientifically to the brain, but essentially you're building habits, and all of a sudden, it's much like you increase your unit size as your capital increases following the system, right? If you're punting as an 18-year-old and you're making $200 a week and you're betting $20 of that, you're betting 20% of your basically income coming through. All of a sudden, when you get to 25, you're on 75K a year working full time, straight out of uni or whatever it may be. All of a sudden, you're punting $7,500 or $15,000. That's still 20%. So like, all of a sudden, the thrill, $5 as an 18-year-old might seem quite insignificant, you can say, but you're building those neural pathways, you're building those habits, you're normalizing yourself to losing money. So then all of a sudden, when you get to 25, when you get to 30, then you're going, oh, well, I can afford to lose 20 grand because I'm making 75 grand. It's no different to losing $20 if you're losing earning $200. And it just gets used to it. And then all of a sudden, you can really see how then, it just turns into a spiral.
It's a hole, yeah.
Yeah, it's a hole, yeah.
And I can afford to lose. Yeah, you probably can. Like, you're not going to be homeless. But it's like, but what could you be doing with that money if you didn't lose it? And I think, again, people are like, I'm just betting within my means, whatever. And that's fine.
Just
like,
for fun.
Yeah,
just for
cool.
fun.
It might be fun every now and then. But, like, I'm not saying you're going to be homeless if you keep gambling, or that you're going to, it's going to ruin your life. And it does for some people. But It's like, it's not that, man. It's like, what can you actually be doing? Like, every time you put $200 in your sports bet account, what could you have done with that money? And I think, like, people don't think about that. And it'd be what I've been saying to a few people that have been DMing us. Had one guy this morning, and he's like, I really need help. I'm punting way too much. Like, what's some advice? And yeah, like, I'm not a psychologist or anything, but just write down what happened to the last bet you placed. Did it win or lose?
Yeah.
How much did you lose? And then write down why you're actually placing the bet. Like, if you're sitting at home on a Friday night watching the footy with your missus, like, why do you have a $20 10-leg same game multi on? Like, that ain't fun, brother. Like,
especially when you're going for one of the teams.
Yeah, like that is
what
not
Hustler
fun.
Haley said, like, so many of my mates, like, I've related to that so much. Like, they go for Geelong, but they need someone on the other
Handles to
team
have
to get
30.
one more touch.
Yeah.
And they don't even care when the team wins because they're multi-loss. It's just like,
It ruins it.
bruv, yeah, like, what are you doing?
So
Literally.
yeah, that's the it's frustrating, but it is what it is. I feel like more people are starting to come around to it, and hearing stories from you guys who are just, average Joes. No
Yeah.
offense, like we all
Yeah,
are,
like,
but
all
just
are, yeah.
average
Nothing
Joes. Like,
special, nah.
yeah, but you're not, like, what I mean is, like, you're not brainiacs. You're not these
Yeah.
people that, like, woke up and you were born with all this discipline, or I'm never gonna gamble. I'm so structured. Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Like, you guys used to punt, I assume.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
He's doing it in fucking school
yeah.
while he's in class. We still
Yeah.
start
Oh.
following the system.
That many people, just like you'd always, walk into school Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. locker room chat, just be like, what NBA multi you got for today?
Yeah, bring your
Fuck.
little
So
notes
that's
pad
mate,
in.
that's foreign.
different.
as
We
to
went
me.
to
That's
school
different,
10
isn't
years
it?
ago, yeah.
We're not that much
finished-
older than you, and that is
but,
full
like,
difference.
that's-
Yeah.
I remember
Stat.
everyone created a sports bet account in 2000 and like a bunch of us created a sports bet account back in when we were like 16, 17. And I remember we all got bonus bets and we never put our own money in, but I think we just must have got bonuses without putting it in.
I can't even.
And
remember
like
back that
all
long
like
ago.
3 or 4 of my mates managed to get the bonus up, and they were making it in their mum or dad's name, and they couldn't withdraw it, so they just ended up punting it. But like,
Oh, yeah.
it's just like back then though, to talk about same game multis and stuff was just unheard of. Like no one
Yeah.
would do it.
We just didn't have the access. Like, I remember
Yeah.
my phone in year 12 was like a Nokia,
Yeah.
like had one of those ones that had
Yeah,
every
yeah.
single button on the phone.
Yeah.
It
The
was like
slide up. Like
the slide up. Yeah, I had one of
Yeah.
those there for a bit, and it's just like
That was
you
my
literally
first one,
couldn't. Facebook
No,
was like
nothing.
this terrible like app that
No,
you
I
could
didn't.
maybe
Oh,
update
yeah.
your status. There was no way we
You
were
should
checking
speak
what the
to
next.
everyone by, like, posting on their wall and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Like,
that's
there
how you
no
do it.
DMs or anything.
You'd poke
like,
them, yeah.
Yeah, poke 'em.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
But like,
pokes
we didn't have apps. Like, we didn't have the next race at Mandurah telling us it's about to jump
Nah,
in 7
yeah,
seconds.
none of
You're
that.
back
6
to winner
seconds.
last time.
Yeah,
Come do it
backbook
tonight.
notifications. Yeah.
The more you
Oh,
look at it,
shit.
like it's so easy to see how people are gonna get fucked over
So
in the head.
easy.
Like from the progression of looking at that extreme of a touch phone with buttons,
Yeah.
no apps, to then now like a screen that will literally tell you the countdown in seconds, like
Basically
when the
puts
next
a bet
race
on
is
for
just
you.
gonna make you place the bet.
Or text you, as Maxie said, like a couple
Yeah.
bookies, like, oh, you backed this horse last time. It's running in 3 minutes, and they text you. Like,
And
it's
PointsBet will tell you
genius.
if it won too.
They do.
That
Yeah.
you backed a winner.
Yeah,
What
like
are you gonna
there's
do when you
events
open the
as
app? Let's
well,
go
yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Like literally, that should
And
be
it's probably
illegal.
jumping like 20 classes. Like, it's just $60 odds. Like, you
Yeah.
just think
Yeah,
because you backed it
just
last
get
time.
you back to
Yeah.
have,
May as
have
well.
another punt.
Like,
it's,
yeah.
it's fucking ridiculous.
You hear people say that all the time. It's like, nah, this one always wins.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? All of a
Boy,
sudden, if it's in a
just
complete
knows, mate.
different race,
Yeah.
it, like, just somehow, like,
Yeah, one last time.
grows an extra leg. Like, what? Yeah.
It's dumb.
I've got a question. We were joking about it before, both of you actually, and we were talking about like what you tell your parents.
Yeah.
We're talking
Yeah,
about
that's a
Max
good one.
first. Like, what you were saying.
Yeah, I was saying, like, obviously, everyone's, like, going to uni my age, like, doing something, like, mum talks to people when their son's going to uni and becoming something, and mum just doesn't know what to say. Like, they go, like, what's Max doing? And she goes, oh,
Match
like,
betting.
yeah, like, what do they say? Like, they just don't know what to say. So, like, she just says, like, works at a cafe and, like, horse investor
hoper.
or some shit. Like,
Horse
yeah,
investor.
but they don't know what to say. Like, even I don't know what to say. Like,
Yeah.
if I try
Whatever I want.
tell someone, I'm what I want. But yeah, like, if I try to tell someone what I do, they just think I'm a mug.
Yeah.
Or like,
of course
even
they
if
do.
you're like at work, you go like, I've got a few mates I work with. You tell them, oh, this just won. Like, I just won $100. Like, it's a couple hours work, and then they go, yeah, but how much did you lose?
Mm.
I'm like, yeah, well,
None, brother.
Yeah.
Check the spreadsheet.
I'm $100 up. Yeah, check the spread.
Literally.
Check this.
Yeah.
I remember I was working Woolies a few years ago. I was match betting real heavily into it, and I was talking to a guy there, and he was like, oh, I was telling him about what I do, but I didn't explain match betting. I was just like, I sort of like pro gamble. That's how I sort of used to describe it, like not professionally, but you know,
Careful,
you don't want people, you don't want to say
when you
that
look at it, it actually is really professional. Like what we
except
do,
for
it's-
outside of the tax loophole.
Yeah.
you know,
If they start taxing you, they're gonna have to tax all the losses
everything.
of other people.
Yeah.
So good luck.
But yeah, I was sort of, so that's how I'd sort of say it to people. I'd be like, oh, it's sort of professional gambling, you know, it's very mathematical. People are like, oh yeah, I'm a good gambler too. And then they'd start telling you about their and you're like, no.
Their big win or what they backed last week. Yeah, I saw this one.
It's like, no, this isn't what I do, mate. Like,
It's like, oh yeah, my mate does that. And I'm like, does he use promos and stuff? Oh no, he just like backs stuff on Saturday.
He always backs
like,
winners.
No, he loses, mate. He just doesn't tell you.
Yeah.
Show us just
Yeah.
So you're winning.
What about you? Apparently your family's real big in your mum's friends.
Yeah. People that mum hang around, they always, chatting shit about what their kids are doing. So, when everyone else's parents are saying, oh, yeah, he's got a job, he's doing this, he's going to get into this uni course, he's doing this, whatever. It's like, oh, what's Mason doing? I'm like, oh, she's got two options. She can say, working at a pizza shop, doing 6 hours a week, just staying at home every day, going out with his mates, or he's a professional match bettor, and she doesn't even know what it is. Yeah. So she's like, he makes money from gambling. So that's what she just ended up saying half the time.
They'll just get big frowns.
But you can still you can still do your uni course or whatever you want to do. Or if you're passionate in working full time, you want to work through the finance industry or whatever, like you can do it. Like Steve's 27, I don't know how, 27?
27.
Yeah, and Steve's been working full time for 5 years and still been doing it. Like,
until today.
Yeah, so like
quit his job.
you can like it's still possible. Like when I woke up to it all like properly and started to go hard with JP, I was working full time as well. Like it's definitely possible to do whatever you want to do and match bet on the side. And it's probably like even easier to match bet on the side as opposed to like if you're at uni and then you want to be working like, you want to be making $500, $600, $700 a week. You have to work like 25, 30 hours a week on top of your studies. Like that's a fucking big workload. Like learn match betting and, take the stress out of it. Like that's what I did when I started doing it through uni. Paid for all my travels, everything. Like bloody expensive to do the shit that you want to do today. And it's pretty hard to do it through
I
making
think
$25 an hour.
I think probably one of the biggest reason people don't or jump off the service or don't join, but generally jump off the service is that they're just too busy or preoccupied on Saturdays. Generally these people are sort of mid-30s. You look like you disagree with that? One of the main reasons.
Not disagree, but we spoke to I sent a voice recording to someone at like 6 a.m. this morning who just jumped off, right? And then he messaged us back. So he jumped off yesterday, messaged us back this morning. He's like, hey, I've just watched some videos on your social media. I'm actually going to go another month.
Okay.
And his unit size was $10. He joined 2 months ago. He's made $400. And obviously that doesn't sound like a lot of money for the time that he's invested. And we didn't tell him to come back. He just double messaged us. He sent a voice and then he sent this. And I'm like, awesome. Like, because he's on a $10 unit size, he's probably making $300 a month, right? Yeah. It doesn't seem worth it. But if you get through that, like you boys did, all of a sudden you spend the same amount of time and you're making 10 times that in 6 to 12 months. Yeah. And then I said to him, look, I'm not here to convince you, but if you can fit it in your life, and he's like, I've learned so much, but I'm just going to cut it for a bit. I got some busy shit. And then he just came back and said, I'm going to do it now. And I'm like, awesome. Keep building because in 6 months' time, you'll be on a $50 to $100 unit size and it'll be worth it now because you can justify, I've just spent 5 hours and I've made $50. It's like, But if you make 5 hours and you've made 2K, then all of a sudden it's the same. So
on that topic of like larger unit sizes and why it's worth investing the time and, being patient at the start. Maybe you guys can, obviously, because people like, even there was a comment on TikTok yesterday, like nobody's making large amounts of money nobody's making large amounts of money anymore because there's hardly any promos or hardly any specials, or you can't get this much money on promos, or, the comments are like, oh, so you guys, you can only max out at $50. No one can follow with a larger unit size than $50 because that's the promo cap. Yeah. And it's like, brother, on one bookie it is, but if you have 20 or 30 or 50, if you're running an operation, you can get more than $50 on, right? Like, I don't understand how people don't gather that concept. But do you guys want to run us through without the specifics? Because we don't encourage or coach people to scale, but it's very common. Like the people that are taking it really seriously are operating accounts in their mum's name, their dad's name, their mate's names, whatever. And as I said, it's not something that we coach, not something that we teach, but it's something that's very possible. And the people that are going ham in this industry are doing that. So without diving into specifics of whose accounts you've got and what you've got, give us a rundown of what scaling looks like. Like, how do you operate a unit size of greater than $50? How many accounts are you managing? Are you managing, like, is it all the smaller bookies? Is it all the majors? I know the way that you do it is probably quite different to the way that Maxi does it. But do you want to give us like a little bit of a rundown? Because there'll be people listening going, especially like members, they'll be like, all right, how do I get to, what kind of setup do these guys have? What the fuck? Like, I'm running $15 and it's hard. So do you want to give us like a bit of a rundown, what the week kind of looks like and what kind of setup you got? So that
and also how long, like obviously you didn't just go from 10 to 100. You talk about like how this actually developed, and then as Tom said, how it looks when you actually do it.
Yep. So obviously if you join nowadays, you kind of get it all taught to you. It's way more personal than when I joined, a year ago. But it is all the same kind of stuff. So it is a long process, going from, $12.50 to now at 100. But yeah, operating in like family members' names, friends' names, and like the actual setup of it is I've just got a monitor next to me, Betfair up on one of the monitors, and then all the bookies. I've got a phone, I've got an iPad, all different like devices. It's not that hard. It's just obviously double the time you got to get the tips on in time.
You have to have a setup.
Yeah,
like
you have to have a setup.
You're not doing this willy-nilly off your phone. Like, you don't just run a $100 unit size at the park with your mates drinking beers.
You can't do it.
It's a proper setup, right? But that's why you guys.
But like, it's
make
the sacrifice
3, 4,
you make.
5
Like, I
grand a
don't
month.
like.
Yeah, well, it pays out more.
Correct.
One of the videos I watched a few weeks ago said that you can bet at the pub, you can bet it, but like when you're at $100 unit size, you can't really. But it's just the people that are joining saying they want to still enjoy their Saturday. For the first 6 months, 7 months, you can just do it from your phone. But I've obviously decided to scale up. You don't have to. I say to everyone, you don't have to. But yeah,
So you're running, and we'll get to you in a second. I know yours is very different. But so you're running $100 unit size. How many accounts do you have active and set up? Like, not like who they are and what they are, but how many accounts do you use to run the $100 unit size through?
40, 50.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a good ballpark figure for people that are thinking, all right, how do I get to the next level? All right,
but you don't want to rush it either.
Definitely
like I said, but same as with the plan, like for your setup, it'll come. Like everyone has probably their own like unique kind of way they do it. But going from 12, you don't just jump to 100 and get thrown in. Like as you go up even to 40 to 50, you kind of understand what you're going to need to do to get to that
even
point.
For sustainability, like think of it from the bookie's point of view. If all of a sudden you go from this punter who's trialing the service on $10 unit sizes or whatever, and then all of a sudden just starts maxing every single promo in the space of a week, you've got a massive impulse change right there, and the bookies are going to catch on to that for sure. Whereas if you slowly build your way up, that's just a natural progression of a gambler, right? It's just all of a sudden, getting a little bit more sucked in,
more money in
unit
the
size,
account,
more money in the account, chasing that dragon a little bit more, and it's a lot better sustainably.
This is why, like, I know we're going to get to your setup, but for people who say it's not possible to sustain your accounts, like, that's dumb. Like, that's the end of the spectrum. That's like you abuse every promo, and that's what people think match betting is. They'll just be like,
or just the deposit.
Yeah, just deposit, sign up,
it's over.
Hammer every second and third. We had a guy join the other week, called me off Twitter, and he's like, what are you teaching for defense? Like, I got my sports bet ban within 2 weeks. He joined, and he's in the Discord straight away, and he's like, bro, this is like fucked. Like, well done on putting all the videos here. I'm not trying to pump myself, but it's so logical as to how you can do it. And like, if you're patient, as opposed to going 12 to 100, of course it can be done. But,
I mean, Max is the prime example. We'll get to you. Last comment. Max is the prime example. He started at 18. All accounts brand new, basically. Yeah. So it's not like, we have some people who come in with 5, 6. When I started, I had accounts that were 5, 6 years, and they were in a massive advantage because those accounts had a massive amount of history on them, open for a long time, all good. Your account's brand new. Yeah. And how many accounts you got, Ben? 2. Still 2 out of 40, 50. Yep. Ridiculous.
But that's so nice. That's actually so nice.
You get some that like you try to wager on them, and they like limit it because there's it exceeds liability or something. But like that's only when you're trying to like non-promo
massive. I think there was in
Someone this morning,
Discord,
would like try
I
and
saw
put
the exact
800 on
same
an
thing.
NBL match, and they
Yeah.
got like,
NBL.
yeah, it's just like you're going against the rules.
It's mainly like player
Think
player
people
props
put
and
money
stuff.
on
For
that.
trying to
Okay.
over under.
like that's
for the-
pure, like that's stupid. Like,
Yeah.
that's taught not to do that, but he obviously didn't know, but that's fine.
Yeah.
So you run a little bit of a different setup. Why don't you give us like a brief rundown? So
Yeah.
My understanding is you don't have 40 accounts.
40.
It's
Bit more
around
than
there.
that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a bit
okay.
more.
But you
Um,
run
One bookie.
only through the majors?
Yeah. So I've had quite a bit of history with scaling up and some of the smaller bookies with certain things they do. You know, stat decks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You've had a stat deck.
Yeah. I've
Interesting.
lost all my to stat decks. So you know they'll for scaling up. I won't get too much in the specifics,
don't.
but basically you can't withdraw your money. It's locked. You can't do anything about it. And
Did
it
you
is what
lose
it is.
much cash out of that?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good warning to
It-
people out
yeah.
there.
What's a lot?
That's why we don't
Just
like,
estimate.
It's about
Teach
4.5
it, though.
grand between
okay.
3 accounts. that
Yeah,
got
it's impossible
done.
to teach
yeah,
because
or
of
encourage it
this.
because you don't know what they're
Correct.
going to do
Yeah,
wrong, what
yeah.
they're going to mess up.
So that's why
And
like
then we
switched
get-
on individuals that are like, holy fuck, this, like if I have 40 accounts and I run $100 unit size, this is going to be elite. But I need to take into account what JP's taught in Platinum and then, you know, make that work for my own setup.
Yeah.
Like we're not here sitting there going, all right, you need to have 10 devices. They all need to have a different IP address. They all need to block. Like we can't do that. We're not going to coach you guys through that. And we don't want to have the responsibility of, if
Yeah.
you do get stat decked, like we're not going to sit here and go, all right, get somebody
Coach
to
you through
sign
how
it
to
for
do
you.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
like-
we're not going to
Yeah.
do that. So that's why we won't teach it, but it is very possible. There are people even like operating much larger scale than, you know, what you guys are doing,
100,
that
yeah,
I know.
yeah.
So like, yeah, but give us a bit of a rundown of what you're
At-
doing now.
Yeah, at that point I was just like, you know, well, I don't want this to happen again, obviously. And it's a bit annoying, you know, running through all these different smaller bookie accounts and doing all that. And then you look at your major bookies, they obviously, you guys record your bonus bet retention like to third at 65% turnover. You know, as like HUSSLA hitting 80-90% on the regular turnover. Plus, I try to aim my bonuses back to fourth at least.
Nice.
So that's why I've learned how to understand how the bigger bookies ban and what you can and can't do with scaling up accounts with them. And obviously that's the reason now I only use about 3 or 4 bookies on a Saturday or a Wednesday, just because they got every race, better promos, and I've figured out a system just to basically hammer all of them throughout the day. Then, you know, obviously mix in your non-promo stuff and still follow the sustainability rules, but it's just been so much easier.
Just to clarify, when you say 3 or 4 bookies on a Saturday, you mean 3 or 4?
Multiple accounts of 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, multiple accounts with
Yeah.
3 or 4 like corporations. you mean.
Corporations,
So he's targeting like Tab,
Yeah.
Sports Bet,
Yeah.
Points
With
Bet, and
multiple.
Boom
Yeah.
Bet or
So
something
you're
like
using
that.
still 20 or 30 accounts
Yeah.
on a Saturday,
Yeah.
but yeah, all with the same
Yeah.
sort of corps.
Yeah, and because I've just been in, like, I know it'd be a bit different for you guys, but having just, you know, finished high school recently, I get, you know, all of my mates who've, you know, chuck on those $5 bets all the time. And I say, oh, you know, here's Ladbrokes, PointsBet, whatever. You can still do the same multis. It's just a bit of a different, weirder interface. That's what they do. They just think Sportsbet's got the easier interface and you get a bonus bet. And you say, here's PointsBet, you still get your bonus bet. It's like the same thing. Sometimes the odds will even be better. And I'll give you $100, $200 and you can go, you know, do what you want with that and it'll cover your loss for your sports bet. I'll take the sports bet and then I even give you $10 every time I deposit into it. And it's just like, oh yeah, easy done. You know, it works out well.
That's elite.
Then they see,
Well, everyone's winning.
yeah,
Like, and if
Yeah, they
they
look at
and
it
if
as a
they
win, yeah.
and if
Yeah,
they
it
don't
is
see
what
that
it
as a
is.
win, like they're like, oh, well, how are you making all this money? Well, it's like, we'll start learning, mate. Like the stuff I'm doing is not, it's not fucking rocket science, but it's just going to take a bit of patience and for you to learn. And most of the time they'll be like, nah, give me $10.
yeah, oh yeah. And then they see TikToks with bloody Steve going, oh, your account's worth $2,000.
Yeah, what on Steve? Yeah, Mayo's like,
Thanks,
you
Steve.
fucking
Pop
dog.
over here.
Those videos.
They've just sent it to him. They're like, it's $20 a deposit now, mate. Fuck it out.
I've had a few deals go south from that, but no,
Oh, jeez.
Sorry,
Well,
mate.
like, nah.
Stitch up.
If you learn, I liked what you said there because we've made like rules as such with sustainability, but we don't know like fucking everything. We don't own the industry. Like things are changing all the time. So when we've got people like you in there, and we've got another a 19-year-old who we're actually going to employ full time next year, hopefully, when we get the office, and he's like basically going to be a what would you call him, like an auditor for bookies, where he's made like this list, and because he's scaling on a really high level, he's making like $20K a month.
I've never seen like it's outrageous.
The level.
Like,
Like,
what,
he's-
like
he's
no, it's like
19.
actually stupid.
He's
Like,
like,
how insane it is. I was like, what the how the fuck are you doing that?
Last
Like,
Saturday, he's like halfway through the day, like how much you made, like 7.5K, pretty shit day. And I'm like, fuck me.
Pretty
Like,
shit day.
Jesus Christ.
no, it's actually
it's
it's
absurd.
ridiculous.
And he's like, next year I want to make $250,000, he said, and like obviously he's going to help us with. But what I'm trying to get at here is like we've taught you the like teach you how to fish. We've taught you the foundation. We've taught you don't do this, don't do that. There's this, that, this, whatever in terms of sustainability. But then you've gone out on your own, applying that logic and those principles and those fundamentals to then create your own systems to understand the bookies and make it work for you. And that's why, like, it's frustrating for the people saying it in the comments, like, oh, it's not possible. If you learn how to do something and you apply your own smarts and then compound that with hundreds of other people, like it's stupid.
you
The
can-
same as with anything, though. Like
Yeah.
they, just because it's betting, they just don't believe it, or gambling, whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah.
if you do this with anything in your life, you're gonna, it's gonna work out.
The Discord has been elite for that recently, I reckon.
Yeah,
Like,
it's-
people are full on starting to, like, gel off each other and take bits and pieces of what everybody's doing. And that's the best part of having the community, because you can absolutely do it on your own. Like, as you said, like, we're not rocket scientists. But if you sit there and fast track your learning by just going through the course, operating through the system for 2-3 months and getting a general understanding of what's going on, if you want to go off and do it on your own, elite. But if you also want to, like, you know, blend in or speak to everybody else, like, you know, you have access to Max, you have access to Mayo, and you're like, how are you doing this with this account? How are you doing this with this account? What's the best setup for you guys? You guys are running completely different setups.
Yeah,
And
then there'll be someone that runs another
oh,
one.
completely, yeah. And then, like, someone will join the Discord, ask, they get your answer, they get his answer, they get a couple other answers, and they're like, all right, I'm going to take these bits of Max, these bits of Mayo, and this will work for me because I'm busy during the week, so I can't do this sustainability. Or I'm going to do what Pete does, and I'm going to spend a couple days a week, you know, getting non-promo bets across 40 or 50 accounts over a 2 to 3 hour period and spreading them across. And that's something that works for him because he's really busy. And that's, as JB said, like, teach you to fish, but then you go and fish. We're not going to tell you, do this on a Monday, do this on a Tuesday, do this on a Wednesday, bet like this on a Saturday, because one, then you're all going to be doing the exact same thing. You're all going to get linked together eventually and you get banned. And two, that won't work for everyone. Like, that's the beauty of match betting. Turn it on and off like a tap. You're busy, you know, you're going to the races tomorrow. You're probably not going to follow the system, and that's fine. Like, enjoy your day. Like, that's what it's for. But then knuckle down next Saturday, and then you go again. Like, that's why I really, really like it. And that's why the community, especially when it booms, is, like, it's sick to be a part of.
Yeah, it was
Like,
actually,
we learn shit.
Yeah,
100%.
every week I'm learning shit off people. But this morning, like, when I picked you boys up from the airport, this is going to sound fucking so cringe.
Oh,
But, like, I'm picking
Here
up
we go.
2 young lads from the airport that, like, we've actually helped potentially change your life. And it's, like, actually makes me happy. I don't know. Like,
No, for sure, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
No,
you-
it can
you
be.
have
It
to.
fucking
literally
nice
is
feeling.
nice. Like, you get
Yeah.
messages from people that are like, I'm not even a sub man, but I watched your multi podcast, and I was like, fuck me, I'm so dumb. Like, I was putting $200-300 worth of multis on every weekend, not collecting any of them, or like people like, you know, I've lost, like, you know, my dad gave me money for my wedding and I've punted it away, or I haven't told my missus that I've lost $5,000 and this was for her engagement ring or whatever. Like, these things happen all the time, and people, obviously, we don't share these publicly, who they are and how it affects them. But these people are fucking, like, it's ruining their lives, and they, like, come to us because they're like, oh, these guys are preaching shit that I think more people should know. And that's what so many people say. Even when they leave, they're like, my mindset's changed so much. There's no way I'm going to be randomly punting, like, because you guys have taught me how stupid it is, but also shown me that if I use my accounts properly, that I can make money. And that's why it's nice doing these podcasts and getting general content out there, and just, like, you know, people message us like, mate, I don't even care if you sub, but just don't donate your $100 every week and you'll be so much better off.
Yeah, well, you know, unfortunately in Australia, gambling culture is just so rife, you know, and as we touched on before, with people starting, you know, really young online gambling, and, you know, it just, to have the effect where you change people's mindset and stop them, the habit, you know, sometimes late, sometimes it's early in, you know, their online gambling journey. But if you stop it, you change them around, then you say you can actually make guaranteed profit from that. I reckon that's one of the key points that you guys definitely have. And then, you know, you see over in America, them just each state, you know, slowly turning on online gambling. You can look at the amount of people that are doing it. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, it's going to be,
concerning.
that's going to be
Australia on steroids within
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Like, I was in New York at the start of the year, and I remember, like, being in, like, bars or whatever and watching sport. Like, they love their college basketball. I was there for, like, March Madness, and I was like, what bet do you have on? They're like, bet. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, aren't you, like, punting on your phone? Like, do you have like a parlay or whatever? And they're like, oh, nah, I don't really do that. And I'm like, mate, if you were sitting in the pub, like if you're sitting in the pub for AFL finals or whatever it is,
Everyone's got
single
a bet on.
person would have a bet on, or a same game multi, or a multi for the round. And I'm like, it's only a matter of time. Like, it'll eventually be, Australia on steroids, and like the offers and shit that they're doing there at the moment are astronomical.
I was reading on it, like they just got apparently. Well, this is a supposed allegation that I've read online, so it could be true, not true, whatever.
Sorry, you're not a journalist. You don't know when to report back to.
It doesn't matter if you are a journalist anyway. You can write whatever you want.
Like DraftKings, PointsBet, Caesars, stuff, they all went together and they just paid heaps to, in lobbying for politicians to get it up to the Supreme Court.
doubt
Who
that
ruled
would be
unconstitutional.
Yeah.
And then they're just having a laugh at this point in time, because if you look at the promos that we get in Australia, Ned's deposit $250, you get $250 in bonus bets. Yeah, that's sweet. All these bookies in America, get $1,000 in free bonus
like
bets.
$5 bet on the UFC main event, get 200 free. Like,
but if you think about it, if you're starting a bookie over there, you're like, let's look around the world. What model do I want to follow? Like, who are the most successful? Who are the most successful bookies? Fuck, the Australian model looks alright. Let's just go down that path. And
but that's what we had 5 years ago. Like LuxBet, you guys probably wouldn't even know that exists.
I don't know what that is.
Like they were old company.
called Lux.
They're just 700. Like you guys now would take the piss with that, but now probably the max? What's the max deposit offer of any bookie?
250 on.
500.
It'd be Ned's or lads. Yeah.
But you can get redeposits. Like redeposits, I reckon, are more valuable now than the 100%. Initial sign-ups. Like if you can get your account into a position where you look like a genuine mug. Like Top Sport were handing out thousands, like at the start of spring, thousand. Like that's thanks for $800.
Some of the real small ones as well, like GoldBet.
GoldBet
Bet and
love
stuff.
their deposit offers.
They'll send you huge ones if you can drain them.
Yeah, mate, it makes me want to get back into it so bad. I'm like, fuck, it'd be so nice to have a little setup
going. We were talking about this yesterday. I've been doing a little bit the last month, here and there, nothing huge, but. Again, like for me, it's enjoyment. Like I enjoy sitting and doing it, and it might sound stupid, but do you guys enjoy
actually enjoy it.
Looking at Betfair and
Friday
matching?
Night, you get little butterflies.
You get here we go. You get obsessed with it though, like watching and you also like you made all this money, but before it's in the spreadsheet, you haven't made it yet.
Yeah.
Because you can't. It's weird. Like legit. Like I've made all this money, but you can't really tell because you have 40 accounts. Every account goes up. 50. It looks like you
some of them
haven't
go
made
down 20. You don't know until the end of that. Well, that's like Jimmy said. He's like, I just track. She's like, just fucking must spend my whole day. He's like, I'm just so consumed by everything that I'm doing. He's like, I fucking love it. Like, hard to get me away from it. But end of the day, he just punches in all the numbers. He's like, great. Like, he doesn't even know where he's at during the day. He just knows that the way that he's doing it, and like you boys are probably the same. Like, we have an edge. Like, you're gonna be making profit, and you don't have to be like, fuck, we're $50. That's why I get so frustrated by people in the chat. They're like, oh, what's every race? Like, what's a daily result? Brother, just keep doing it. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it literally doesn't matter. Ask for the daily result in 3 months. Like, you'll have 100 units in your pocket and you won't even remember it. So,
but you have to do a daily result. But like, I'm sure you.
Oh no,
it's fucking annoying though. Like,
though.
For transparency and like accountability, yes. But Tom always like he made a good point. He's like, we wish we could not fucking post.
It'd be so nice to just do monthly results. Or like a rolling 30-day result.
Or don't post them.
Yeah, like because it's like I know, we'll definitely post them. But it's just like, it's so frustrating because then people fixate on the daily result. And it's like, mate, we lose 3 out of 10 days.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to lose 30% of our days. But, we've never had a losing calendar month. And that's purely because you look at it at the longer term.
The daily result's okay, providing on the losing days you keep it into perspective.
Yeah.
So it's like literally just be like, oh yeah, losing day today, but I've just had 6 winning days in a row, or before that. Like, you just got to keep it in perspective and just be like, all right, it's fine.
I didn't even like saying winning or losing days. I like to always keep it numbers. Like,
just keep
profit.
it not even a month. Just like Saturday, and then you've got the next tips Wednesday. Just look at it as another bet.
Yeah, literally.
Don't look at the gap.
You don't need to separate
ongoing tally.
Yeah,
ongoing tally.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat the other day was like, for example, like, it sounds so illogical, but I'm 12 months in, I'm 320 units, and today I lost 2 units. So I'm 318 units up.
Yeah,
like,
I remember I had a day where I lost $1,000 accidentally, just made a mistake, and I was so flat. And I was talking to you about it, and you're like, how much are you up at this point in time? I was like 30 grand up or something. And you're like, so you lost like 1/30 of how much you made. And I was like, it still sucks, but yeah, that's a fair way of like putting it all into perspective.
I think you need, this sounds dumb as well, but I think you need those losses to wake you up, which then makes you stronger. Like, I've made mistakes on one race where you double lay something and lose 2,800 and the horse wins.
Yeah, I say it to everyone as
sure
well.
you
Though,
guys
like,
made it.
that's why I say start small.
Yeah.
Because like the best way to learn is make a mistake.
Yeah.
Plus, if you do make a bigger mistake, like if you've got 10, 15K profit behind you, it's still, as Steve, like it still sucks, but put it into perspective, like, it's whatever, it's a mishap.
But that's where that daily result would piss you off more.
Yeah.
Like, far out, I've lost 20 units
You
today.
gotta chase something.
Like, but you haven't. Like, yes, you've lost it in literally today if you look at it that way, but
Yeah.
in the whole scheme of things, that's just a blip.
Like we lose 2 units, they're like, oh, rough day, lads. And it's like, brother, we're like the graph's at 728 units. Like we've lost 2.
Yeah.
What?
2 of the
Like 2.
728.
700, like 2. And we're 18 units profit for December or whatever. It's like, how, whatever. Like it gets me.
Have you got any good stories of, well, I want to go mistakes first. Have you made any blunders? Like, what's it cost you? Apart from like the ones before 4.5K in stat decks or whatever.
Yeah, some of the mistakes I made, even recently, sometimes just like, I'll be turning over a bonus, 5 minutes before a race that you guys are tipping. I'm trying to get my accounts organised and, obviously the liquidity in the market's a lot better closer to the jump and you get those 80, 90% turnovers. And sometimes I'll just completely lay the wrong horse and of course it'll win because I don't look.
It goes both ways though for me. Like I've had times I've laid a horse and then put a bonus on the wrong one, and then the bonus is one and the lays one. So it's
Double one.
It's
Yeah.
double.
Grouse,
But then I've also
But it
had
can also, the
races
reverse.
where there's like
The reverse sucks.
100 Mashani, whatever.
Yeah.
One race.
There was one race, there was
All
all
the ones
11.
in
Yeah.
And I've
It's a
like,
joke.
just fucked it up. Like
I did it
couple
last
times
week with the
and
greyhound. Or no, was it?
In
with the
Tassie,
horse?
they have those GGs as well. There's
Yeah,
like heaps of
GG,
GGs.
yeah.
Like some races are like all
On the
GGs.
harness.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no. Like what's going on here?
Too hard, yeah.
So that's a good question. So what's your worst, like after a mistake or whatever, what's the worst day you've had match betting? Like figures wise, do you remember?
I had one rough day. I think you guys went like, this is months ago. I think you guys went negative.
We went negative 15 one day.
That was
yeah,
last
I
May.
think it
Or
was.
1
Yeah,
month
it
or
might
a
have been
week or
that
something.
day. And then I did my own bets because there was sports promos going around. And I remember I was backing and laying this team. I loaded all my accounts on this one team. I think it was an early payout. I can't remember what sport for, but I loaded all my money on that team. And I remember I deposited that much money into Betfair to, obviously
and you
match
drained it.
And I've just I've used the calculator, but I've forgot to add a 0 on my bet stake. So I've lost all of this money because like the early payout didn't go through, and then that team didn't win, and so I've put like the complete wrong amount on Betfair, so I've just like wiped half my
hedge.
bookies out.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
approximately like what are we talking?
Oh,
Approximately figure for the day.
It was about I think negative 2.6 with
Okay.
Trumpy. Yeah. That was my worst
I'm
day,
not
and
that
I was
bad.
So,
I think
but
I'm
yeah,
like
but
1
like
point.
for perspective,
What was
like
the
you're
unit
sitting
size
at
though?
50K.
$50 back then. Yeah. The fucking
So it was negative 2.6.
yeah, negative 2.6.
Trumpy in combination with this mistake.
Yeah. The mistake.
That was
Believe me,
a
that
really
was
long
that. I
minus
was
50.
I punched a hole in my
Yeah.
wall. Like I was
Actually?
no, because I was that mad
There's
at
another
myself.
$2,000.
I was not mad at myself. I made my promise that day. I was like, all right, this
5K
is
day.
yeah, this is not happening again. Like that was.
That's
You're
what I
on-
mean.
you're
Though,
on
like, you
tilt
learn
after it,
so
you're like,
much from the mistakes.
Yeah,
legit,
you do.
who
You'll
cares?
never do that again.
Oh no way.
You triple check,
I've
quad check.
I triple check every time now. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right.
But in
I gotta
contrast
check
to
the
that, like
digits.
what's the best day?
Oh, I've had amazing days, man. Like World Cup recently. I mean, those payouts were just an absolute joke. And being in the advantage when you have like a lot of points bets and sports bets, you can just absolutely load up and smash them.
Yeah.
Give us
how much?
Yeah, give us some more details about that.
Oh, so heading in before World Cup, I've just been doing Trumpy. I didn't really do much of the promo stuff. JP released a new video on World Cup promos, how he did them back in the day, and then looked at the
That was
promos
the
that
glory
they had.
days.
Yeah,
It was
The
the
actual
peak.
uncapped
The
early
actual
payouts.
glory
I
days.
wish.
I cry watching them old videos.
Yeah,
Oh, man, I didn't get.
50K months and
that
shit,
is
like,
just.
The
I wish
actual-
I got in on it.
and you going outside of live better fucking.
Yeah. Our relationship didn't end up well.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, no, the World Cup was good. I made about 3.5K on it.
Nice.
Which, yeah, if you in comparison to what you were making, it's like not much.
Nah,
but
it's irrelevant,
with
man.
the-
It's for you.
yeah,
Like, who cares?
I'll take it. It's just additional profit on top of Trumpy, which I'm having a laugh. Probably looking at increasing my unit size sometime in the near future as well.
Yeah,
But
nice.
yeah, No, it's good. You know, if you take it back 12 months, you know, you're getting like $200, $300 paycheck to your email, and then, you know, you look at the you look at the end of a week. You look at the end of a week, and you're like, oh, geez, I've made, you know, a couple of grand, and I've only worked about 10, 12 hours. It's just an absolute steal.
That's
so
sick. And what about you? What's
so
best
nice.
and worst day first, and then best?
Worst isn't even that bad. Maybe like 1.5, and it was literally just two $50 bonuses on a horse.
And you laid the
And
wrong
laid
one or
the wrong
something.
one.
Yeah.
No one.
Twice in the
One.
same day.
Yeah.
No, like I just doubled on one because
Oh,
you get like
100, yeah.
excited. You see
on two
a
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had
9%,
what,
you're
like 50, 50 on like 14
Yeah.
or whatever, and then you
Yeah.
had the liability.
I think it was $16
Yeah,
or something.
Oh,
like that.
Don't lay, mate.
Yeah.
Just
No,
no,
don't.
But what's best?
Don't do that.
Best. That's a good question. Above, I think it was over 2K.
Yeah, nice.
But I like fucked up. Like, it was a day we went maybe like plus 15, but instead of putting one unit on, it was like something to buy. So it was like paying like $5
Yeah.
because I have two of the accounts. I completely forgot to put the bets on, so I redid it again.
So you
and
doubled
I
it
got
up.
like
Yeah.
put like 2.5 units on a 1 unit $5 horse tip.
And I got
Yeah,
up.
one. Yeah.
Well, that's like
Huge.
obviously like we don't encourage that, but
Yeah,
that's all comes out
yeah,
in the wash.
yeah,
Like you
yeah.
make a mistake, you fuck up, you
Yeah,
make
you're
a
never
mistake.
gonna have 100%.
If you're gonna be placing like if you place 20,000 bets over the next 12 months, you're gonna make mistakes. Like
Yeah.
that's
And then
Well,
you're
it's a
also going to
given.
have the other side where you
Yeah.
do what I did and
of course.
make
Do you
money off
reckon you guys have where with your mistakes? Where do you reckon you'd be sitting profit minus? Do you reckon you'd be like you've lost more from mistakes, you've made more from mistakes, or you're sitting roughly about even?
Definitely lost more from
You've
mistakes.
definitely lost more? Okay.
Yeah,
100%.
I'm massively.
Really?
Yeah.
Not, I, know
I
you
reckon
asked
I'm
them.
probably about even.
Yeah, I'd be negative. Remember we used to fucking lay those things, and then they wouldn't get matched.
Oh,
And
they're
then-
not even mistakes. That's just your
No,
stupidity.
because it never used to be a take SP option for Betfair.
Oh,
I don't
okay,
think
yeah, right.
we used to have keep, so we'd fucking load 1,000 on something at 220, and then try and lay it at like 210, and then
fucking
drift
bombs
to
the start or
250s.
whatever, and now it's like $4.
and then it just
JP's
doesn't
like
get matched.
like mid run, he's like not matched. I'm like, what do you mean it's not matched? I'm like, there goes, fuck, there's 1,000
Yeah,
down the Googler.
I've been getting good turnover on those like live lays. I know that you guys don't encourage it.
But
or
if you know what
whatever.
you're doing,
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
got a
watched
mate that does
video.
it.
You can, because you can even look at just
speed maps.
if you've got it. Yeah, speed map.
I just
You
look
can
at
Yeah,
leave
but
it
there's
at
still
$16.
like, yeah, true. It's
the market
true,
already
but there's
knows
still
that though.
there's an element of gambling in that because like you are assuming that A, the speed map's correct,
Oh, I
and
still
B,
lay before. I lay for
oh
like
yeah,
70%.
nice.
And
Yeah,
then if it-
okay.
Yeah.
And then you leave a little
like,
bit
yeah,
too.
leave a
Yeah,
little
okay,
bit.
That's fine.
But yeah,
yeah.
always lock it in.
Because there are people that run services purely on that, and it's like, brother,
Oh,
that
yeah,
still is gambling. Because if the horse doesn't end up where you think it's going to end up, which is chance, like you're literally leaving it to chance, then
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's gambling.
It's mainly in the big ones though, when they fool like the Melbourne Cup, when there's dudes like mapping it up everywhere, like this is going to go forward. Trainer
Oh,
said it's
mate,
gonna
a
go
few years
forward.
ago, I reckon JP and I turned over like 3.5K on the cup,
Yeah.
like on the Melbourne Cup in one race.
Way more than
Bonus.
that.
Yeah,
Way more than that.
nah, not more than that. On the one race,
Oh, that day would have been like 20, but
I remember it was like Constantinople, and I was like, JP's like, another one, do another one, do another one. I'm like, are the odds still there? He's like, yep, do another one. I was
yeah.
just
So
sitting
we'd
there
be
and,
on
like,
two different.
I was just sitting there in all
devices.
these accounts, like yelling out. I'm like, $12. He's like, yeah,
Yeah, take.
$12.50 on Betfair. He's like, take that. I'm like, another one, yep, take that. And he just kept like hammering them through. Fuck it.
Yeah, we just
Those are the
unloaded.
glory days. What are your enough of your successes? What are your mates doing, and what do they think of it?
Good question. Like I have some that actually do. Obviously, their sustainability wouldn't be up there, but they have accounts in there. I think they are.
A couple of your mates have
subscribed
subbed, yeah.
But they don't have the platinum score or anything. They like kind of ask me, "What do I do here? What do I do here?" I'm like, but yeah, their sustainability wouldn't be up with like anything.
But some of them are actually match betting.
Yeah, so I've,
Yeah, nice.
one is, and then the other one like kind of did.
Is he getting
Just-
banned?
I don't know. I haven't really talked. He wouldn't tell me if he's getting banned.
Yeah,
I don't reckon. But
Okay.
What are your mates doing apart from runners identical services?
Well, yeah.
Wait,
They're
going
gonna
to
be
be my best
watching
mate
this.
this morning when I picked
Yeah.
up Mayo. I'm like, how you going, mate? He's like, I'm like, you this guy? He's like, nah, I'm the other guy. I'm like, oh, how you going? No worries.
Nah,
They-
but, like,
they're
in all
gonna be
seriousness, like,
phased
what
by,
are
like-
what are your
Nah,
mates actually doing?
Well, yeah. There's those two who I kind of got into match betting.
At least they're actually doing it properly.
Yeah,
like,
no,
it's not a
yeah,
bad thing.
they've definitely kicked things up. One of them in particular makes he's on $100 unit size.
Nice.
Doesn't follow Trumpy, but yeah, he's making good money. Other than that, most people, you know, just uni, getting in, stuff like that.
But are
I'm
they
still-
punting?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
people like especially my age, you know, footy's on this weekend, cricket, something like that. You just same game multis. That's
Yeah,
all
I've
it
had
is.
mates have to like lock like sports bet accounts, like shut them down because
Yeah.
It's fucked. It's so
they're
cool.
too much.
Fucking
hell. Yeah.
Especially when they're working like trades. Like obviously in the future it's going to be good, but they're on $11 an hour, and then Friday at the pub, like Friday beers, Friday knockoff. But then you spend $11 on a beer, and then put a bet on
that's
as
a
well,
bargain.
Mm.
and it's like there's 2 hours of work gone, and then by the end of Friday night, you're pissed. You've lost
Yeah.
200 on the punt, and for them that's like a lot of money. Like
And what's sort of like the reaction? Is everyone like, lost $200
Yeah,
bucks
like
tonight?
it's like nothing
The old
serious.
badge of
It's
honour.
just
Yeah,
the
badge of
old
honour.
one leg didn't get up. I was that close. That's
Yeah.
all
Yeah, I
it
fucking
is.
Stiff.
I
Next
go
one.
sometimes to
I'm
my
due.
mate's workshop, or his dad, and one of the guys there bets, and he knows what I do and how we teach this. And they're like, he wants to win one to show me that he's won one.
Mm.
And I'm like, mate, you're costing yourself money to prove a point that you can't actually prove, and you're just literally wasting your own money.
But
He's like, nah, I'm going to get
the
one.
bookies do it well as
They
well.
want to
Like,
stick it up, yeah.
I've
yeah.
seen it all on TikTok, like that people put like $500 on a dude to score the first bucket to be a free throw over in
Yeah,
America, and
that's
they
BR
they
betting,
post like
yeah.
how close it was.
Correct.
But, like,
It's fucked.
there's going to be heaps of them.
There's a
happening.
guy at the moment who they've been posting every day, BR betting
Is this the
about
French
I
this
think
one?
it is that.
parlay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a $557,000 payout on France to win the
France,
World
yeah.
Cup, and he's been
Shit.
riding every fucking
Every
qualification,
game,
semi-quarter. And I think that's the last leg. And they're interviewing him. They're watching his reactions when they score
He
a
said
goal. and
he said he'll never cash out unless they verse Argentina in the final. And
Yeah.
they are, and then he said he might not even cash out.
well, yeah,
now.
that last video he said I might, but he will,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
And they've just kind of
Yeah,
drag on the
Bro,
fucking
you would
story.
be mad not to cash out at
I know. And
least
it was like a
like
$26
$30. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
but
not?
they're glorifying the riding,
Yeah,
and they're
like
glorifying that one event, which there'd be thousands of other bets, tens of thousands of other bets of those that have
Hundreds
lost on the
of
first leg,
thousands.
Yeah.
and we don't hear about them. So unfortunately, the brain doesn't see 999,000 other ones because they're not posted, and secondly, they just want to be that guy.
And they
So
just
I'm
fully
going to start
blur
doing
the
that
other
now.
side of the.
Literally,
Yeah.
well, they don't even have to. They just show that.
Yeah.
That's the genius of sports bets, Instagram and things like that. Like half their posts, they got their memes appealing to the younger audiences. They got those bet slips that they love to post of, that 50, 100 grand, whatever
The
the payout's
jackpot.
got one leg left. It's like ride or die. It's like, oh come on, man.
This is what I
Like,
always imagine, imagine you made a Facebook group or Instagram group, whatever it may be, like legends and their losing bets. How many people?
We
do you
should make that.
I've
What do you mean?
thought about
They
it.
exist.
They exist.
They're called they're called something else.
They're called
but they've
legends
got-
and their multi bets.
Yeah, they exist. They're every single punting Facebook
Nah.
group you see.
I know what you
Yeah, they're
mean,
not
but like,
titled
Like
that.
actually name.
Oh,
but like,
obviously.
actually be like, hey guys, come and post your losing bet slips. Who the fuck?
Just
would
join
wanna
all.
do
there's
that?
people
Just
that do
join all
that.
those Facebook groups, man, and just every bet that gets posted in there, put it in your group. Like
Put it in the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
those groups are fucking sad.
But like the whole idea, it's like no one wants to see losing bet slips.
No,
Like
of course
everyone,
not.
so it's just
Unless
like
it was a
everyone-
huge payout and it was really close.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's
lost by a nose.
post your one leg failures and glorify
Actually,
how
Mintbet.
unlucky you are.
Have you seen what Mintbet do?
No.
One of the smaller bookies. They've got a "We was robbed." That's what they do. It was with WUZ. We was robbed, and so you get they do like a payout or no. Members send in your bet slips to Mintbet
I've
every
seen
week,
this, yeah.
and the biggest robbery of the week, they'll pay out the bet. It's like, oh my god, they're glorifying.
The biggest robbery of the week is the person putting the money in their account when they
Yeah.
started and then thinking they're unlucky.
Yeah, just send them a deposit transaction.
It'd be so nice to be a bookie.
Wouldn't it?
start.
Fill your pockets.
Yeah,
Nah,
like,
that
because
mail guy,
you wouldn't be able to
mailbag guy
sleep.
started a bookie now.
Oh yeah,
He's
I
got
don't know what's
mail
going
bet or
on.
whatever.
I don't know what's
Really?
going on there.
Baggy bet. Oh, something like that.
Yeah, it's called
some
baggy bet.
tipster. Yeah, he
Yeah,
started his own
They run
bookie.
like the mailbag guys. They like
Was he the guy writing the bet that he laid? So he tipped it and then he
no,
wrote
he
the
didn't
lay?
tip it. One of the guys that works under him, like they have like four guys that they're like a tipping service, like four guys that work under them that tip in like different jurisdictions. Some one guy's like Toowoomba tips, one guy's like Queensland, one guy's like Victoria, and the guy in Victoria tipped. I wish I win. I think it was or whatever. And it was like a 2.5 unit play, and he was offering best odds. So he was essentially laying it. Like he was offering best odds in any market, laying it, and then he posted a video like after it being like suck a dick, it lost. And then everyone's like commenting under it, bro, the guy that is under your service tipped that 2.5 units. How are you celebrating that? Like, what about your subs? Like,
Yeah.
Weird.
it's such a if there was like a royal
haven't
commission
seen
into
it?
the betting
Nah.
industry, it's
He
pretty
got
cool.
fully rinsed.
As it
Yeah,
should.
If there was a royal commission into betting, it would be so fucked. It
Well,
would be
it's
way worse
starting.
than the banking shit.
Mate, there's-
Yeah, but Nah.
I mean, well,
like,
something is happening compared to 12 months ago.
yeah,
anyway.
yeah,
They-
but
yeah.
hang on. If I think it was ABC, that thing you sent
ABC did
yesterday,
it, yeah.
they were talking about how like Shaq was shaking hands with like the Prime Minister, and like he's signing a deal with fucking PointsBet for millions.
Elbow and Shaq.
And like, hang on, if you actually cared, you wouldn't be allowing that. But I think that's fully ignorant, and it's also just money clouds everything. Like, because the government's making, I don't know how much off millions or millions, or would it
Hundreds
be
of millions.
would it be $1 billion?
No, I'm not sure.
Probably $1 million.
But they must be
Millions?
making hundreds.
Tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions. Who knows?
Yeah.
But the point is, why would the government fully police it? Like,
Yeah.
they're gonna lose money.
Yeah,
And-
either they'll do a cover-up job.
Oh,
But, like, even
they
what
just
you said
pretend
about-
they're
They'll
helping,
put the
and then
band-aids on it. Yeah.
legit, so that they do
It's
that
like
thing.
it's their money. Why? Like, who is going to police it? Like, it's just going to be.
Correct.
It's just a big loop.
We
Yeah,
were saying
exactly
who is the police?
There is an
oh
independent.
no. I was telling JP about this before.
Oh, yeah,
the
talk about that
independent
story.
body. So
Alright.
I don't want to name the. I'm gonna name the book. CrossBet stole money from me, like through and through. It was a scaled up account. They IP traced me, whatever it was. They sent out the stat deck. Couldn't do it. I'm like, I just want to even withdraw my initial deposit. Wouldn't even let me do that. Right? They hold the money in escrow or whatever it is they're doing. So I file a complaint with I get my mate to file the complaint with the Northern Territory Racing Commission, which is where all these bookies are registered. You call them up, right? Or they'll give you a ring after they've, you filled out your complaint form, submitted it. It's this 80-year-old geezer who's just off his nut. He's like, oh yeah, I'll speak to the bookie. I'll give you a ring back soon. It's been 6 months. I haven't heard a thing. Like, the problem is, even if the
probably
bookies,
hasn't made it to the
especially
next
these
day.
smaller ones, even if they do do you dirty, you just there's like no hope of you getting your money back. So that's the problem that
Where
some
do you
people
turn
face.
to? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they're the police in their own,
Oh,
making the rules in their.
100%.
But
cops.
that's a different. I was more talking. That's obviously shit house. But
Yeah.
I was more talking about just the general rules of what you can and can't do as advertising, as like saying they're going to try and stop it or reduce fucking. They've done it on pokies. They've definitely helped there. But the advertising, if they're serious about like actually,
Well,
stopping
they
it,
are changing it, but like
Yeah,
we
but
all
it's
know how
just
much
a
of an
slow
impact it's
fucking
going to.
bullshit.
Like thinking about it now, hey, like the whole profit and loss emails that people get, that has made no impact at all.
Yeah,
Like,
none. I
who
thought
do
it
you
would be
reckon-
People
I
are
thought it
just
would be
having a laugh,
massive.
mate.
I
People
don't
are
even open it.
People
Legit.
have a
it's just
laugh.
annoying.
People open the
Nah,
first
I'll
one,
tell
have
you
a
why.
laugh, and now everyone it just goes straight into your junk. Like you're
I'll
like,
tell you
oh,
why,
fucking
though.
CBF.
You can't even access the fucking PDF on the email. Half of them you have to go and log into your account to check it, and you have to go to the My Account section and then the statement.
yeah,
like
right.
that's genius.
Yeah, it's like your
Everyone's
statement's
lazy.
now
They
available
want to
in
go
your
this,
account.
bang, click. Oh, yep, 300. But
Yeah.
you have to log in. It's in. No,
Nah,
close it.
yeah, I'll do that
Yeah,
later.
Or it's not
Too
even the
hard,
right
like,
figure. It's
Legit.
like this is your net winning position. Like fuck me. Like
Yeah.
just tell them how much they've lost. Like it's so crook.
Yeah, they had all
Yeah.
these weird words like net winning
Yeah.
over the
Oh,
last.
they try and confuse.
Dis-
Well, they changed it
Yeah,
because
yeah,
if
yeah.
I would like to think that video we put out, who knows if it was just
Sportsbet,
us.
Well, I think Sportsbet were the
very-
first to put it out.
2 days.
They
after.
were
they
getting
cooked it,
rinsed on like
and they
all
were
their
getting
comments. Like people
yeah.
were like this is not right. Like this is the wrong thing.
Yeah, even in
like,
the Facebook.
yeah,
groups,
all
like,
in all the
everyone
Facebook
was-
comments like this isn't right. Like on
So-
all their posts.
And
like,
all the other corporates went and did it legitimately
Yeah. Did it
as well.
properly.
So it made Sportsbet look real dogged.
So who policed that?
Probably
Just
sells.
throw that one under the
Oregon
rug.
was
no idea.
reputation. Oh, yeah.
No, well, I remember reading the document that showed what they had to provide, and they hadn't met the obligations.
That's
So
right.
that's
So it's just like it's like a grey area.
So there was that
Remember
article
we looked
about
at it?
that.
Yeah. Then they
That
showed what needed to be
literally Sportsbet followed the template that
Yeah.
was
so
provided
Sportsbet's
by
fine then.
Sportsbet.
in it. Yeah, they're
so-
fine,
no,
but they would have known what they're doing.
But yeah, they
Of
would've
course,
known.
but who the fuck's doing the template?
Mate, that's my question. And who's signing off? I want to know whether they knew what they were signing off on,
That's
or
what
they
I'm saying.
actually didn't know. Like they're just like, yeah, that looks about right. Like
Is it
they've
ignorance
they've
or is it money?
they've-
We
Nah,
know.
I reckon they've full tricked the bloody whoever has to sign that off for the government. They've full been tricked and like, yep, net profit in, net profit
As in
out, or whatever.
Sportsbet send the template and then they said
No, whoever made the template, I don't know, Sportsbet, Tab, and Cahoots, I don't know.
It's probably
I reckon they've been tricked. Like we were all tricked. Like initially, we were all like,
we
oh,
had to
shit.
work it
we
out.
knew,
We
we
took
knew
like
something.
hours to work it out.
We
Yeah, I
knew
remember,
something
like,
wasn't
that's not
right,
right.
but
Yeah.
in that template that was provided, they purposely chose numbers that the profit and loss was actually what the net revenue in and net
Which is
revenue out
fucked.
equaled out. So like naturally you'd look at it like, yeah, that's profit and loss. But it was purely, they just fudged the numbers. It's complicated to explain, but they purposely chose numbers that look like it was there to deceive people 100%. And
Well, the
Sportsbet just
easiest
followed
way
the
to
template.
explain it, if anyone was confused, is like whenever you won a bet, it literally just included the stake as your winnings. So if you had $100 on something at $5, you get $500 back. They would say you won $500 when in reality you only won $400. So that's how they inflated that number, and a lot of people didn't understand that. So they had that inflated number, and then the losses was correct. So then you add your inflated winnings minus your losses, so you have an inflated net profit and loss figure. And that's when people got really confused. And it's like, mate, all you have to do is look at your opening balance. How much did you put in? How much did you take out? How much is left? That's your profit and loss. Don't look at these figures. It's wrong.
Yeah, well, we got a template that we obviously made for it, and it was much easier. But like, as dumb as it sounds, it should be as simple as that. But most people probably wouldn't even be able to.
I just don't think they
calculate
care,
their
man.
own
Like,
profit.
I just really don't.
They don't care. Yeah,
People
it's
don't
like
care.
If people did care, they'd be tracking their bets, or they'd be like, "No, I'm putting $20 into a betting account every week, and when it gets to 100, then I'm going to bet it, and that's all I'm betting." Like, people really don't care.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they just don't care.
I was at footy and I was explaining it to someone, and I was explaining how fucked up it was that they're allowed to do that, and they just look at you like, and like, who cares? Like, and I just
It's not that deep, mate.
Yeah.
literally, and not that like they said that, but
No.
they just didn't care, as Tom said, and it's just alarming
But like,
that people don't
you know,
care.
like, all right, we obviously play this side of things a lot, and we always
course.
talk about, how dare they do this shit and all of that. And for 95% of people, you're right. Why do they care? 95% of people don't care. They don't have a need to care. It's not impacting them. Gambling isn't ruining their lives, but they're just the real ignorant side, or real ignorant to the other 5% of people who do get sucked into all these tricks and do lose their lives and do damage their families and everything because of it. So, like, it is fine. Gambling does have a place in Australia. I firmly believe that. Like, I don't think gambling should ever be removed from Australia, but it needs to be done in a way that the vulnerable aren't just absolutely abused and manipulated to every single cent that they've got.
When you got, like, old mate who's lost $5,000 with Neds or Sportsbet or whatever, and you're sending him a text message every day saying, mate, deposit another $1,000, we'll give you $2,000 in bonus bets or whatever. That's where, like,
That's predatory.
There should be a line that the government has to draw there. Like, he's shown a history of just being an absolute degenerate gambler, and you're just going to suck him in for more. Like,
And what happens? What happens when you self-exclude yourself, and then they still send you a text message, they still send you an email, they'll still promote to you, still advertise you. You've self-excluded. You've literally said, "I'm an addict. Get me the fuck out of here." You exclude yourself, and they'll still send you a text. And then what do they say? "Oh, sorry about that. That was a mistake. We won't do that again."
Sure.
And then they'll go and do it again, and they'll make another mistake. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah. So you've got, I know you've just said that the predatory side of things, you don't have to tell us about this if you don't want to. But I remember you said there was a way in which you were manipulating that to gain for yourself. You don't have to say it.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
I'll talk about it briefly. I don't want to get into too much of the nitty
Don't
gritty.
go
Don't give it all away.
specifics.
There's,
Max is like, "Tell me off air, though."
there's a certain, I don't want to say
No,
social.
Don't say the bookie either.
Yeah, I don't want to say social engineering or anything like that. But there's a way that you can convince bookmakers that you're a losing punter when you're not a losing punter, and use that in your advantage to gain deposit offers. And that's some of the script you can follow. And as unfortunate it is, you almost feel guilty, because if part of what you were saying was true, whatever, you're a degenerate gambler and they're still, preying on you to deposit into them, that's probably, you feel guilty in doing it, but then again, you're making money off of it.
Because
So
it's
a
such
bit
a
of
true story for someone, like, in reality.
Yeah, it's just
Someone is
relatable. It's
actually-
happening every day. They hear it every day. So another one.
Yeah, and it's such a big problem. But I'm having a laugh because I know what I'm doing with it, and I'm sure some other people are too that have discovered the trick. But
It's like, we don't care, like, we're like, rah, don't gamble, right? Have an understanding of what you're doing. But we don't care if people gamble, right? As Steve said, like, it's never going anywhere. The gambling industry provides hundreds of thousands of jobs across Australia. That's fine. But we would just rather people have an understanding of the consequences. Like, if you drink too much, what happens. If you smoke, what happens. Like, you can't advertise smoking. You can't put anything on, any of the packets or whatever. Not to do drugs, or, that what happens if you do lots of drugs. You know all these things.
Yeah.
But no one has any fucking idea about, like, the real depths of where gambling can take you. And it's a fucking slippery slope. Like, the money that is in your accounts, like we discussed with Jimmy, the money that's in your accounts, they've done it so well that you don't even feel like the money in there is real. Like, you don't understand. It's so easy to, Apple Pay money into your account. You don't even have to, like, if people had to hand over cash physically, or someone be like, you've lost $800 this week. Are you sure you want to bet this next 50? Anything like that. Or do you know that you've lost, $20K in the last month? Are you sure you want to bet again? Nobody knows where it can go, so no one really cares.
Yeah, people just look at it, like, even, like, I'm going to be honest, like, even I look at it differently. Like, I will willingly place 3 units on a horse, but, like, I don't want to spend, like, $200 on a jumper or something. Like
Yeah.
it's it's weird. Like
Because
Yeah,
it's
but
not. It
you're
doesn't
betting-
feel like
you're
it's
betting
real.
with an edge.
I'm betting
Like,
with
you
an
can't
edge, but
lose
like still,
long
even
term.
I'm sure people
No,
that
100%.
don't have an edge would.
Yeah, well,
rather
people
put-
like, oh, I'm not going to pay for a trainer, or I'm not going to buy, nicer food or whatever. But of course, they'll just they'll just Apple Pay 50 into their sports bet, 100 into their sports bet,
Well,
punch it away.
even before Apple Pay, you still have to grab out your wallet, put in your CVV, and then you realise, oh yeah, I'm actually taking money off this. With Apple Pay, you just put your face
Bang.
at your phone,
Yeah,
bang,
straight
done.
in.
You don't you only see it when you actually log into your.
I just
bank
wish
instead.
that everybody knew like what the worst consequence was, like all the other things, and then if you make the decision to do it, that's fine. But you need to have all the facts, and nobody has all the facts, or it's very well hidden, or gamble responsibly. Like fuck off, like they don't mean that. Doesn't mean that.
Gamble responsibly.
Slide it at the end. I got a message. I got a message from TextBet the other day. I don't know if you guys got it. About a sign-up offer. I mean, a redeposit
You'd be
offer.
the only person in Australia to still have your text bet promos.
Well, they got a redeposit offer.
Because you kept
I don't ever
donating.
use them.
Yeah, it's
Just
because
created new
that
account.
one
Yeah,
day,
literally one day,
one
you
day
were
at
just
JB's.
donating.
Yeah, there was an offer and we
Yeah.
took it.
So, but they messaged me and they're like, "This is the sign-up offer," and then they didn't have gamble responsibly at the bottom, and then they sent another text message a couple hours later. They're like, "Oh, apologies. Make sure you're gambling responsibly or whatever." Like they obviously that's a law or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
cool.
then they sent through another text
Yeah.
message, and I was like, "Fuck, that's pretty funny." Like,
They've changed them all now. There's like, oh, the score, stay in control. They got all these different slogans.
Well, there's
Yeah,
going to be
it's
the
like
10
they
next year that they
yeah.
have to recycle on every ad.
Yeah.
That's a new law that's
Yeah.
apparently going to change the
Think
game.
about how much you could lose or something.
Or like
that.
you win,
Win some, lose
you
most.
more.
Yeah.
Lose more, whatever.
so easy. Well, I don't know if you guys have got any other questions for these blokes, but
Do you want to have a break? We've just had a break. Maxie's filled his hydration requirements for the day. Tom's
hydration station.
gone through 1.5 probably bottles. I wanted to hear the story about you trying to get a credit card.
Yeah.
When was that, this week?
Nah, this was probably 2-3 weeks ago. I just had obviously because I got a lot of money moving in and out of my accounts with deposits and stuff, having so many accounts. So sometimes if my a couple of bonuses win on Betfair and my liability goes out and I got a low Betfair balance and I need a deposit and I don't have the money, then obviously the only way to turn over bonuses is 2 or 3 way Dutch that way until I get paid or withdraw or whatever. So I went into the bank and I was like, look, I'm looking for a credit card. This is what I need it for. I understand there's a high cash rate, 22% or whatever it is, which I'm okay with. And then
Fuck me, is that what it is?
Yeah, cash advance.
22.49%.
Fucked.
Yeah. But it was only going to be literally I'd probably use it once every 3 months. I just needed it as a fail safe to make sure I'm still hitting 80% turnover, 90% turnover.
Fair.
Anyway, I walked in, I'm like, he's like, yep, I just need you to fill out this form. I've filled it out online on this little computer. And, it's asking your income section. He's like, what are your job? I'm casually employed. I'm a pizza delivery driver. I work 6 hours a week. I make $150.
6 hours.
And they're like, it's like, what are your expenses? I'm like, I got my car, I got my rego, I got, petrol, just normal spending money, utilities, subscriptions. And they're like, mate, you're spending more than you're earning and you want a credit card. And he's like, but I got I match bet. So I just try and explain to them what match betting was. And at the end of the day, they're like, nah, it's gambling winnings. You can't count that as your income, which is fair enough. But
He would have just been laughing at you, like, what the fuck?
it was
Never
an
gonna
awkward
get
conversation. It was a very awkward conversation. But
You'd leave and he'd go, this fucking mug.
Yeah.
Literally,
This
nah.
degenerate
He's like,
gambler
what is
wanted a
this guy
credit card.
thinking?
What a fucking idiot.
he's probably
That's
just
what
going to
we're
use it
talking
for
about in the
sports
break
bet
room.
anyway.
Fucking hell.
That's
Oh, well.
that's like the one downside. Like a lot of people are like we get questions as well. Like doing this pretty seriously, but I want to buy a house or want to get a house with a miso or like what do I do? And like it's a little bit of a grey area, as Simo would say. It's like it's not the best thing, but what you can do, like if you're looking to do like run a full proper operation, like if I was you, I'd have all of my betting stuff. I mean, it's a bit different because it's basically your sole source of income, but for a lot of people that do it on the side, you can literally open up a second bank account in one of those micro online banks where whatever the fucking it's up
Ubank
or
or
Ubank
Up
or whatever
or-
it is, and run all your betting through that on the side, right?
Yeah.
Allocate. This is why we tell people start with a bankroll that you're happy to use. Whack that in your Ubet or Ubank, or your Up Bank or whatever, and leave it there. So if you start with $2,000, put it into some of the accounts that you need, but leave yourself with like a little kitty there. And as it grows, that's your investment. Don't touch that. That's on the side. You're not going to need to access that money. So leave it there, and that way it's all separate to your bank account. So if you're getting all your salary or your expenses coming out of this bank account, Tom, Dick, and Harry don't need to know about this one. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like you're not doing anything illegal, and then you just operate all of your income, daily expenses through here, and then when obviously it's different because you don't have like a proper source of income. But someone like Max, he could have, I'm working 20 hours a week at a cafe, I'm making $700. I don't pay rent. My car costs me $3,000 a year, and then you're like, yep, cool. This guy's making 20K and he's spending 5. We're happy to give him a $3,000 credit card.
Yeah.
Like that's very easy for people to do.
100%.
Just on the Ubank up, there are a couple of betting agencies that don't like those companies.
But
just
make
an
a comeback
example.
or whatever.
But I would suggest the big ones. I know you've said ANZ are quite good.
Yeah.
But like exactly as Tom said, if you're getting a loan with NAB, I know this is probably out of grey area as you said, and you've got your betting in ANZ.
Yeah.
How do they talk to each other?
That's where you got to think if it affects your credit rating at all. The amount of
no, I don't think it doesn't.
No, it's not your credit rating, but like I've worked for banks for ages, and they will 100% like they have their own category for gambling, as like when they're looking at your whatever you can afford to lend. Gambling is a category. So if you have regular 100, 200, 300 deposits, and even though you're not losing and we know what you're doing, you're turning them over. You can't. They don't care. They're not. You can't justify. You can't just. Even if you have like really nice, like even if you had 200 in, 10 grand out, they don't care. They're only looking at what you're putting in, because if you are putting money in, that's looked at as a liability.
Well, it's a fair stereotype. It's
of course, for
accurate.
99% of people, they're going to be putting more in than they're taking out, so they have to consider it, especially in Australia. Like we're such a bad gambling nation, which is what like a lot of people don't really understand that. Like it's a full liability.
Yeah, it's responsible lending. Like they're not just going to give you money to gamble with.
And after the Royal Commission, like they're everyone's fucking top notch. They used to let through fucking anything. It wouldn't have mattered, but now it's like you need to meet all these requirements. You need to be able to pay back at 5% over whatever the rate is. Like they're not just giving out money like they used to. It's a lot harder to get a loan. So that's one way that you can clean it up. And people that are working making a lot of money, working full time, and want to do something on the side, match betting. That's an easy way to do it. Like
100%.
leave your bank, like set your bankroll up at the start as if you're going to put money into shares portfolio. Yeah, and then leave it there.
Yeah, that's literally what I did. I mean, I had, when I first started, I took money out of my savings account because I was like, I can earn whatever my interest rate is annually, monthly compounding through my savings account in my bank, or I can put it into my stocks and get, maybe 6-8% a year. Or, I'm pretty confident in match betting, and, whatever ROI I can get there, I know will be better than stocks or savings. So it's a no-brainer to not obviously take out everything, because you're going to make mistakes. And
that's why you need
to do that.
You
allocate yourself an amount you're comfortable with, and just work it up from there, and soon you have a little nest egg on the side that you can always tap into.
So I've got a question, going a little bit off topic here, to both of you, but you've sort of brought it up here, Mayo. You're talking about sort of investing, and obviously you're looking at good savings accounts, term deposits, whatever it may be. Has this always been an interest of yours, or is this something that has been sparked from match betting? I know personally myself, getting into the finances of markets and match betting has definitely pushed my interest further into other financial sectors. What about yourself? Is that something that's come from match betting, or you're always sort of interested in that? Your parents might have been into it, whatever it may be.
I'd say my parents are probably into it quite a bit. They self-manage their service, so they're always talking about investments and stuff at dinner time. And I was just had my savings account, my checkings account, and I'd just go back and forth. I didn't really invest in anything. With match betting, and HUSSLA obviously teaches a lot about the mindset,
and it's all very similar
money
principles
management
required.
And stuff. And then I can look at
it's the same shit.
100%. It applies to everything, right? And then I look at other options where I can put my money here, put my money there, investment properties, positive, negative gearing, whatever. Have a look at that. So 100%. The mindset that HUSSLA and Trumpy help you teach applies throughout your life when you talk about like the financial discipline side of things. 100%.
Absolutely. I think it's a bit of an interesting one. People would hear us talking about sort of match betting, the system, HUSSLA, and hearing it in the same conversation as negative gearing, positive gearing, investment, and people would be like, fuck off. You're not even this isn't the same. But we all know, all 5 of us sitting around the table here know that the skills that we're learning through match betting and through the financial principles, the mindset required, whatever it may be, it all is going to help out further in the future, which is where I think for you guys, I know personally how much it helped me, but I didn't get into it at you guys' age. It's going to be such an advantage, I think. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe you guys have different opinions on it, but learning them from such a younger age, providing obviously there's such a stereotype, 18-year-olds, they don't know what they're doing, they can easily get trapped, which is something we get criticised a lot for. because people are like, oh, you're just luring in these 18-year-olds who don't know any better. Obviously, you guys are very switched on. You're pretty sort of financially sound for people your age. And it's going to put you in such an elite position moving forward. I'd like to think anyway. I'd like to hope so, yeah.
Even like the stuff that I know about mindset, about even like any investment in general is just like when you actually talk to people about it, some people just know nothing. So like,
yeah, but that's not even 18. That's
yeah,
like
that's just everyone.
Yeah, correct.
Match
It's just
betting
like
is just it's just investing. Like you're just it's no different to like if you're match betting every day or keeping your accounts up to scratch or whatever you're doing. It's the exact same as if you're day trading stocks or
It's the same thing,
anything
it's just
day trading
different-
crypto.
Yeah,
But it's all
numbers.
it's
It's
still
numbers,
investing. So all the principles still apply. Like you don't want to overexpose yourself. You don't want to do it with emotion. Like it's
Bankroll,
literally
all that
all
stuff.
of the same. Yeah, controlling your bankroll. How much do you have on? How much you have on one trade? How much you have on one bet? It's
they'll set a
literally
stop loss. Where you
yeah.
set
It's
a-
all
yeah.
it's all the
Yeah.
exact same. Like so when people are like, oh, you don't know shit or whatever, it's like, brother, jump in there, learn it, and I'll promise you it's the exact same. Like you can apply so many of the things that you're doing towards your bankroll management and everything towards any trading. If you want to trade crypto, you want to fucking do whatever you want. You want to invest in shares. Sure, if you have 10 grand, you're not going to go and put it all in, Fortescue Metals or whatever. Like that's stupid. That's so dumb. Same way as match betting, you're not going to put 10 grand of your bankroll into your sports bet account. Like that's so dumb.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can learn so many things from that. And if you learn that at 18, 19, sure, you might not be trading the markets for another 5 years, 10 years, whatever, build up your bankroll. But the other thing I wanted to ask, because you have done a bit of it and your parents speak about it at the table, like there's no better ROI than match betting. You're not going to get a
Especially
better
at the
ROI.
smaller,
Yeah.
like, putting $20 in, put $20 in a crypto, it pumps 100%, you make $20.
Yeah.
Put it in here, you can.
Because
like,
it rolls
the-
over
yeah,
on
exactly.
itself.
It rolls over on itself.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. Sorry, do you want them to answer that?
Well, I just want to know, like, for ROI sake, if you have 5 grand, sure, you put it in crypto, it might go to 5 grand, but it can also go to 0. Whereas in match betting, it ain't going to 0.
yeah.
Unless you fuck it up
Yeah.
and gamble it, which is your own fuck up. But
Yeah, well, that's not match
correct.
betting. That's not match
It's,
betting,
it's the
correct.
best investment on the planet, and I challenge anyone right now to find one better. There's 3 things you need to do in investing that you need. Everyone, forex, stocks, whatever, and you guys should know what it is by now. It's obviously money management, which is staking, stop losses, all that stuff. It's all around that term. Money management. You've got mindset, discipline, which affects money management, and then you've got edge. Match betting, investing, whatever it is, stocks, it's all the same. But the only one where you can get an edge yourself without doing any analytical stuff is match betting, because they're giving you the edge with the promos, with the specials. You then have the first 2 consistently within the appropriate money management and discipline, and you can't lose.
Yeah.
So as well as that, you've got the ROI.
Yeah.
You can put in a K and have 100K. Like you said, you started with $2,000.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you've
I'm
made
legit the same. Started with,
You've
I
made
joined
50
the Hustler Squad, I had 3 grand in my name. Hustler Squad was $1,000. Had like 2 grand.
What's that?
Goes
15,
into the
15
bookies.
times your
Yeah,
investment.
yeah.
More. 18 times
Oh,
your investment.
yeah.
what's yours? 25 times.
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah. Well,
But that's
almost, yeah.
unheard of.
And people would
Especially
sing,
in the
people would
time
sing
zone
from the
as well,
rooftop.
when
you buy Rio
25%.
Tinto tomorrow at $100.
2,500%.
It's going to have to go to literally
Data
$2,500
claim
a share for you to get the same return.
Yeah, well, it got to the point mum and dad would ask me each weekend, because they see me on the table on a Saturday with all my screens going and doing this, doing that. They're like, oh, how much you make today? And I'll be like, oh, yeah, this much, I made $1,000, whatever it is. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, I lost a bit today, but it's okay, I'll make more next weekend. It got to the point where dad's like, oh, can we work out something where I give you money and then you guarantee me
That's
10%?
what everybody-
And I'm
that's
like,
actually-
Says that. Can I give you
Yeah.
money? Just do it for me. Like, nah.
Even my
That's what I
mates
said.
are like, can I invest in you guys? And I'm like,
Yeah.
brother, just I would love for you to just do it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get so shattered. All my mates still post all their multis and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Or some of my mates are on Argentina or France with the bet R thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, you beauty. I'm like, lads, at least, for my sake, please at least just guarantee yourself $300.
Oh,
They're
So,
all
I'm
in
like,
Brazil, weren't they? They all got
some of
done.
them were on Brazil, and they were posting all those bonuses, and I kept telling them, I'm like, take it. I'm like, you can lock in 350 or whatever. That's a great deal. There's still
They just
3
got
games
too
away.
short, though. I got
Oh, what-
272.
Did you guys
or
listen to the
something.
voice I said?
Yeah, I got 272.
I didn't want to predict, but that was fucking
yeah,
stupid
no,
odds.
I did.
Like unders.
Yeah, I listened
Everyone
to that and I was
overreacting to
I had
they
a little
scored
bit
3
late, and I
goals,
was like,
shut up.
oh, $2.72 to win the whole World
Oh,
Cup.
yeah.
There's
They needed
That's
to
what
win
you
3
laid it
more
at.
matches.
games.
3 more
so
matches.
I
Oh,
fully
yeah.
got
You
it.
nailed it.
I
Yeah.
fully,
Yeah.
I legit, fully nailed it.
Yeah,
Hit the
nice.
perfect spot. Yeah.
Perfect.
So I'm just like, you guys have great, and this is the thing, they'd be better punters. Even if you don't want to do match betting, if you just took all of that investing advice, don't bet with emotion, manage your bankroll, edge is obviously the thing that they're not going to have. But even with the first two, if you implemented that to the way that you gamble, which is what we try to talk about in our podcast, don't bet with emotion, understand the chances of you winning your multi, so on and so forth. If you adapted that and bet within your means, like if you have $100 to bet, don't bet $100 on your first bet, because then if you want to do that's fine, but understand that you're done for the weekend. You can't bet again. If you bet again, you're betting with emotion and outside of your bankroll. So if you just applied even the first two to the way that you bet, you'll fucking lose way less. Way less.
That's the thing. People there was someone in the comments, I said, just keep a consistent betting size that's like 1/100th of your total.
Yeah, 1%.
And someone's
Think
like,
about
oh,
that.
but you'll just like lose it all eventually. Anyway, it'll just take longer. And I'm like, exactly.
Correct, mate.
That's
And isn't
exactly
that fucking
what it's
better than
designed to
losing
do.
it today, fucking rather than next?
If you want to
12
do it
months?
for fun, do it for
Yeah.
as long as you can. Yeah.
And then, or you got like, I know how you said there, you've got you lose your 100 for your day, you're done. Or you can just keep digging into the kitty,
you just go
like old mate on Twitter that just keeps posting and never
Yeah,
ending
like bet
bankroll.
within a bankroll, but then it's like, but what
bankroll-
happens when that one ends and you put more
Put
money
more
in?
in.
Like, that's not how
That's not
bankroll
bankroll.
works, man.
Bankrolls.
Like, but these are things that I would love. This is what I mean. Like, you just learn these basic fundamentals
Correct.
before you start betting, and everyone would lose way less.
Yeah,
like,
it's not fucking like Jimmy said. They try and complicate everything and overcomplicate.
It's
fucking-
so
Great
simple.
point.
It's that simple. Money management, emotion, edge.
Yeah.
The third one's not even relevant. Just
Especially
stick to
the
consistent.
emotion and
Yeah.
the mindset.
The emotion's the most important because it
Huge.
impacts number
Yeah.
one, but number one will cause you objectively to lose.
Yeah, well, with gambling, you got to take match betting. You got to keep the emotion in check. Like the moment that you put on a multi or something, and you know that you're just fucking doing it, like it just ruins your whole mindset. Because it's just so tempting to see those odds. If you're like, well, if it wins, I'm just going to win that much. It'll be silly.
Yeah,
So
they
you-
only
Oh,
think
yeah,
that
like
wins.
imagine, like if I win this, like I'm taking all the lads out tonight. Like it'd be a fucking fill up,
100%.
man. And then your first leg.
Well, we've
lose,
got
like,
SBU's got the big Argentina bets on to finish the World Cup. He's got fucking something
1.65
dumb.
million riding on it.
And like for us, if you had a
Fucking
$1.6 million
It's fucked.
payout right on Argentina and Messi to win the Golden Boot, what would you do right now?
Hedge it.
Yeah.
Hedge
This
it
is
out.
like instinct.
Yeah,
It's like
Yeah.
we've like whether we've taught that or whether you've just developed that mindset.
It's just
That's
the correct
fucking-
thing to do. It's the right answer.
Yeah.
Like it's just.
But
like,
what if
that's
it?
what you
Yeah,
do.
I'm waiting for the odds to go down because a while back I put my a couple of bonuses on Argentina to win at $13. So I'm having a laugh now.
Well, yeah,
At this
you'd
point
hope
in
that you're
time.
hedging
Yeah.
now before.
Oh
the final.
yeah, 100%.
If you're not,
Well,
you
it's
already
just
probably
Before
have.
Sunday, just
Yeah.
waiting.
And
for
you don't even have to hedge the whole amount. You can hedge it along the way.
Oh yeah.
This is
100%.
what I sort of try to make the point
scaling
of in my
out, yeah.
video. Is people don't want to be like, nah, mate, I still want to have a gamble on the game. It's like you can do that.
So
People
put
think that.
300
So
instead of
yeah, you
500.
can like hedging is a spectrum, right? You can hedge 100%, you can hedge 50%. Obviously, we always recommend hedge 50%, like because that's just mathematically you're just going to get the same result no matter the outcome. You're going to make the same amount of money no matter the outcome. Or hedge 100% depending on the way you look at it.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
So like if you've got $1,000 riding in the line, hedge it so you make $500 no matter who
Yeah, if
wins,
it's
sort of
$2
thing.
odds, yeah.
If it's $2 odds, but you don't have to do that. Like you can choose to go wherever you want. Some people, like a mate of mine, for example, he had Argentina and then he went and put 650 on France. So he's hedged it the other way.
Well, he's just gambled extra 150 on France.
Well, but he still hedged it. Like he's
Correct.
still going to make 350 or something if Argentina win, and he's happy with that. And he's going to now make 550 or something if France wins. So it's like that's still a positive. It's not textbook hedging. It wouldn't be down to the T of exactly what to do. But at least he's further along that correct mindset of now he's going to lock in some guaranteed profit, and so you can still have a bit of fun within the hedging if you still want that thrill factor. But just take some profit.
I don't know if you're saying something different to me.
No, well, I was going to say the easiest way to simplify it, like a lot of people are like, yeah, but I'm on at $100 to $1 odds, and like, why would I cash out? Like, I could win $1,000. And the way that I said it to my mate yesterday, I'm like, you could win $1,000, absolutely. I'm not denying that. But would you be more shattered if you could have won 1,000 and you made nothing, or you won 700?
Spot on.
Like you, instead of winning 1,000, you won 700. Which scenario will you be more shattered in? Like if you lost $300, so you cannot lose. You're in a scenario where you cannot lose, and then Argentina win and you won 700, but you could have won 1,000. Are you going to be shattered, or are you? But if they lost, you're still going to make 300. Or in the scenario where you're like, no, I'm not going to do anything, and you could have won 1,000, and then you win 0. You're going to be way more shattered in that
The
situation.
all or nothing is how they want you to do it. And I like to just go back to your scale of hedging. If you got a coin that you buy at a crypto coin, let's just use it like fucking what's the one that Doge or
Dogecoin, something like
the other one that went up
Shiba.
massive, Shiba. If you bought, I'm using arbitrary numbers here to make it super simple. If you bought Shiba at $1, I know it wasn't that, and it goes to 1,000, right? Along that way, you've literally made no profit until you sell it. So instead of going, I'm going to sell it all at 1,000, you can sell 20% of it at 200, 20% of it at 400, 20% of it at 600. So even if that crashes back to fucking 0.1 of a dollar, 10 cents,
which it did.
Which it did, you've now made nothing, as opposed to if you did hedge, you would have had profits.
Yeah.
And you're never going to pick the
literally
perfect.
is all numbers on the screen
Correct.
until you cash out.
You don't
Like,
try
you
and
see
pick the perfect
people
spot.
with like crypto shit. They've got a live trade open that's up like 4 Bitcoin, but like it's not until you cash it
Exactly.
out. Like,
They're
at least,
bragging about it. You haven't got
And
anything.
it's all or
yet.
nothing. It's
Yeah.
like you can either win millions or zero.
Yeah.
And most people, because they don't know where they're stopping, go to zero.
But that's investing 101. Obviously, you buy the valley or whatever they call it. Buy the bottom, sell at the top. No one knows where the bottom is. No one knows where the top is. So you got to take like a little bit as you go up. As you go up, as you go down. That's like
Exactly.
like a very standard strategy in the stock market. As you go up, sell. As you go down, sell. And then you're just going to at least average around near the top. You're never going to hit the top. No one knows where the peak is.
Exactly.
You can't predict the future. It's
the
exact same as cashing out or hedging.
It would be like us following the system, right? We're putting a consistent stake on most of the horses, like some are 2.5, some are 2, some are 1.5, some are 1, some are half. You saying we're going to hit the top is like we're going to hit a winner at 7, and we're going to put 2.5 units on that. And we have to, because we know it's going to hit, we're going to put the max unit. You don't know. It's just an average of everything. And the average of edge, the average of money management over time makes profit.
Yeah.
Same as investing. So
The most frustrating thing will be, whether it's my mates, whether it's comments on TikTok, whether it's your mates, is like people are going to win this promo, right? And they're going to think that they're gods. Like, lucky I didn't cash out because it won. And I see JP get tagged in like Facebook things all the time. And it's like, dude, maybe you are lucky, but like, if you were in the position where, most people were on that, I can't even remember, Deauville Legend in the Melbourne Cup. Like, if you cashed out there, you'd already have, $350 in your pocket. And then if you made $700 in this situation, like you take the 300, 700 option here, you've still got more from that scenario than letting them potentially both ride. And at the end of the day, man, it can lose. Like, you could have 2 opportunities to make money and make none. Or if you take 2 opportunities to make money, you make 300, you make 700, and you're in a position where it's a 50-50, and you don't have to rely on a certain outcome. And I personally find it hard for them to not grasp that concept. But I mean, that's what you just got to keep hitting home until you keep going with it.
I think it's the FOMO.
I want to break that down. Let's keep it very simple. Imagine with Better, there's 5 options that they had a market for. I don't know if they had 4, 6. I don't know. Let's just say they had 5.
I think it was 6.
Okay.
Well, as in all the different...
for that
NBA,
101
NFL,
markets.
For all the 101 markets.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just going to say 5 just for ease of example. So 5 markets. I reckon every single market you could easily have made $200 risk-free on every single market, right? That's 5 markets, $200 risk-free. That's $1,000 right there. So you could have easily made $1,000 basically risk-free on those markets. And I'd say that's pretty conservative. I reckon you could probably get sort of 12, 1,300. So you could walk in there and you go, all right, I'm going to put my $5, $10 bets on and I'm going to guarantee myself $1,000. So I'm essentially guaranteeing that I'm going to hit a winner on one of those 5 bets. Majority of people won't hit a winner on any of those bets. So they're going to walk away with negative $50 from their outlay. But you could have guaranteed that you just walked away with $1,000 risk-free guaranteed. Which one are you going to go for at the start? Like, I'm going to put these 5 bets on and guarantee that one of them are going to hit, or I'm going to let them all ride and chances are none of them are going to hit. Like,
well, I'm taking the grand.
I've taken the
grand for
Everyone's
7, 8
taking the
years.
grand.
Everyone's
But
taking
it's,
the
they
grand.
want the win.
Yeah.
They want the
They
win.
want the Bucks won, the other 5 lost, but the Bucks won the championship. Whereas it's the same thing.
And the counter argument to this is a lot of people will say, and it's technically correct, and you've explained this in the free chat. You said someone's like, oh, but aren't you like restricting your upside in your EV? And you are, but there's not enough sample size for you to have your EV come out in the wash, as we like to say. So
if you had 1,000 markets or 1,000 cracks at 101 odds, let it ride for sure. That's essentially what the system is built off.
Correct. But if you got 5, you're not allowing the actual average to come out, and then you're done.
You might hit 3, but
I was going to say, like, there's positive variance. Someone might hit all 5, but over the mass, they have 300,000 customers or whatever they got. 298,900 of them won't hit 1. Like, that's the maths. And yes, there will be some people that post in those Facebook groups showing that they hit all 5. Fantastic, brother. But everybody else in that Facebook group didn't hit 1. Oh, well,
it's like Pat's Lotto, that kind of odds.
Like, to be honest, like, there are, at least they're in a position where most people, their favourites, right? Most people are just going to back the 5 favourites, okay? And the first one, Melbourne Cup, you had a position to, you could have made like at least $300 on that first one. And most people backed Brazil, and they would have been in a position again to make another $300. So if you're taking the favourites, which, you know, that's the most EV, you need to be taking the opportunities to make money on them.
The only way you could have increased your sample size with this is if you broke up your $10 bets into a $10 $1 bets.
Yeah,
If
but
you
you
had
need
done
10 different
that,
accounts.
hey, no, you couldn't. You could do that on the one account.
On the Melbourne Cup, you could put
Oh.
$1 on 10
You could do it with
different
I
all
didn't
the
know that.
markets.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
So they let you
I thought
split up.
they didn't let you do
Yeah,
that.
No,
but-
they
well-
split up. It was $10 you could outlay
You're
on the
increasing
market.
your profitability in
you're
terms of your
increasing-
chance, your probability, but you're capping your upside.
No. You're increasing
not.
your unit size. You've still got the same EV, but you've just got more cracks at it with a smaller unit size. So now instead of
Yeah, but
putting
your
$10
upside's
on
decreased
one,
now.
you're putting
like the
$1
gross
on
amount
10.
of your upsides, like obviously
because
a
you only
grand
make
to
$100.
$101.
Sure. But I'm saying that
Relatively, it's the
there's a
same.
chance that you're going to hit probably every single market then.
Yeah.
So that's how you could. That's if you're going to let it ride.
Yeah,
That's
if-
a way that you could increase your sample size.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah.
The volume of profit will be lower,
The
but
volume-
the
But
then
likelihood
your
of
max
you getting a
profit-
better ROI on your
likelihood of
investment is
hitting.
much higher.
Hang on,
Yeah.
but your max profit for that's only at $100, yeah?
Yeah, but
if you
you're
do 10.
you've got a much higher chance of hitting one of them.
You're looking at total volume of profit.
How many
versus
promos
likelihood.
are we doing?
You'd be
5
You'd
still?
be hitting 50.
50
You'd be
bets?
putting 50 bets on, or you
Only
could do it either way. You could
Your
put
max
25
profit's
on.
500, no?
Yeah, it is. You're right.
But-
I'm not. But
yeah,
there's
okay.
a higher chance of you hitting that 500 than there is of you hitting the $1,000. Like
Because there are heaps of monkeys
Yeah.
that would have backed like, you know, things that are no chance. Like, you know, for example, you know,
Yeah, Morocco or
some
someone.
idiots would have honestly been on Australia and stuff like, and they're no hope. They're done.
yeah.
So you
You
have
could have
no
backed
chance.
Australia
Whereas if you
probably
have
at
if you had the 10 if you had the 10
So somewhere
Back it
else.
somewhere
you had the
else.
10 favorites at $1, like you would have hit Gold Trip. That was in the top 10 in the market. You would have hit. Well, you would have had all the.
All
You
the
wouldn't have had
Cup,
Morocco,
World
but
Cup.
you would have had Argentina, France, Brazil.
You're going to take the NBA. You're going to take the AFL.
Yeah, like there's
Yeah.
it's probably. I mean, I'm not an NBA expert, but there's no way there's more than 10 teams that are going to win the chip.
Yeah.
At AFL, there's no way there's more than 10 unless there's a fluke.
Same
And
as
I don't know
It's just gonna
anything
be
about the
Blues.
NRL,
Blues,
so
yeah.
Yes.
No, but
Blues,
even
yeah.
with your example, you've said
Yeah.
you can hit him, but you're still going to make more from your example. So, like, you've made $1,000 on just hitting.
But there's
you-
more
Five.
luck. There's more luck though, hoping that your selection gets deep into the season. If you just back one, you have to back the right one. Whereas if you have 10, you're way
Yeah, but
more
if you
likely
hedge it
to have
immediately, you
things
made
that are deep.
200. Like, immediately. Like, you don't even have to fucking do anything.
Only on the favorite though.
Yeah, if you
And
back
in
the
some of those
favourite-
markets, there's no liquidity. Like you're not going to be able to lay AFL, NRL.
Whereas,
NBA.
barring a disaster, like if Brazil got knocked out in the group stage, but you probably would still hedge it before then because there would be enough liquidity. That's
you
done,
wanted
ticked.
to,
Deauville
yeah.
would have been ticked before the race. Fucking
I
NBA
reckon-
ticked. It'd be enough.
Yeah, well, I reckon a lot of people didn't hedge in the Melbourne Cup because
No.
they just didn't have the liability in their bet there. That would have been a lot of the problem for people.
Well, that's
like,
the thing.
And that's
I mean,
The
yeah,
spend money fucking idea that
Oh,
they're
yeah.
spending.
like
rather than
if you had Dover
guaranteeing.
Legend, I did the maths because I used the promo and I did hedge it and it was all right. But like the liability on my horse was like 1.6k, and some people just don't have that. In
How
their
many
bet there.
bet odds you have?
Literally only 2.
I too.
Yeah,
Missed
I should have bought a
opportunity.
lot more. I was an idiot. I could have made some real money off. I
I
should have
told my
bought.
family, I'm like, everyone get a better account. Oh,
Right now.
and it just like went over their heads.
No,
And I was like,
really?
all right.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
They would have been
had
pretty
2
hot
as
on
well.
like same addresses
that's
and stuff.
dumb
so,
to
like,
do.
I
I
wouldn't
reckon
have
we
yeah.
would
done
have.
that.
Yeah, I only have mine on my
I think it will still be more valuable. Like we told our subscribers and community to just hold off, wait to see what they do with bands because those accounts will be way more valuable if you keep them open for 2-3 years as opposed to maybe making
Yeah.
$1,000
They have
off
actually started banning a bit as
one
well.
of those.
so-
Oh yeah, they did. They definitely did a
Yeah,
sweep
they did
after
a big
Spring
sweep.
Carnival.
Yeah, people are just hammering like they had fucking $100 bonus back if they come second and third on a 50
Yeah.
solid
Yeah.
state.
Double
like
your-
And
dumb
it's like,
shit.
yeah, double your winnings back.
was a
People
Yeah.
just hammering
Yeah,
it.
finish
You actually
second,
win
third,
more
fourth, or fifth,
if
and
it
you get
loses.
double. Yeah,
Yeah.
rather
You'll
than
win either
lose.
way.
if you back
Yeah.
a $2
Or
horse,
if you turn it over, yeah.
Yeah.
turn over the
They
bonus,
got
you
such
make
weird
more.
promos as well. Like their top accounts, the people who are losing will get like insane promos, and then you have the other people that only get like 4 races on a Saturday bonus.
Yeah,
second or
well,
third.
did they take TextBet's customer data?
I don't know, but a lot of people's data
Yeah.
did get
Yeah,
transferred.
they knew
or some-
things
all
about
the big,
customers.
All the big
Yeah.
punters on text.
But that's the other thing as well. I called up. I was doing some research on my own accounts through the spring, and I called up or I asked for a deposit offer on a new bookie, and he had data from 7 years ago on my name from another bookmaker, and I was like flabbergasted as to how he knew that. And when I was on the phone to him, he said, "Oh, we've found your data from XYZ bookie from 6 years ago," and in my head I'm like, "Oh fuck, he's gonna like say." No chance of having promos. oh, we'll match $500 first deposit. All right, cool, done. Bang in. Match bet. Account $6,000, and I'm just like, that's done. And then I text him back, my VIP manager. I'm like, hey, any more deposit matches? I'd like to withdraw some money. Is that going to affect our relationship? No reply. It's done. So
he got sacked.
So no, he's got like a customer base. Let's just say he has 30 people that he manages, and one person goes plus 6K, and 20 other people are negative 10. He's not going to fucking message me anymore.
Text another 20 again, and
Correct.
you're done.
And he realizes that I'm probably half smart punter, and unfortunately he went the wrong way. He wanted to lose, but it's just funny how they managed to get.
I wonder how much of that though they look into your betting activity to make that decision, or if it's purely profit and loss. Because you do hear stories of gamblers who win like 100,000, 200, like a stack, and then they continue to like entice them purely because they know that, like, generally speaking, you hear that they get banned instantly. Okay. But I've also heard stories on the other side where people have won an absolute stack on an account, but the bookie must realise and identify their betting activity and identify their betting patterns and go, no, we can like lure this guy in and eventually he's going to give it back, which does happen.
At the high end, those people would 100% get looked at manually. Yeah. And for example, Super Multi Tips, I'm just going to say it, he made 600K, right?
And they've enticed him.
He's getting deposit offers still on his lad.
Correct, yeah.
And I think maybe, not 365, they don't really give deposit offers. But that is just...
Yeah, but if he's making 30K a month from betting, they'd wipe you out straight away. But because of the way that he's betting, they're like, if this guy does this for 3 years on our accounts, he'll give it all back.
It's simple maths. And they profile, they know exactly. Like, I could tell you right now, if I interviewed 100 gamblers and how they bet, we could all tell them, and people would laugh at that, but you could look at someone's account statement, loser. Yeah, loser. Oh, yeah, he's got consistent stakes. He'll probably be maybe break even. And then you get people that are posting their wins on Sportsbet and posting about $1 million fucking payouts on Sportsbet, and then you see them celebrating it, and then you're like, well, hang on, if he's winning $1 million, why wouldn't Sportsbet ban it?
How are they letting him have that on there?
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, hang on a sec.
He's losing 200K a week, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I don't know about that, but
no, I'm just like.
But for example, like you're only seeing that. You're only seeing the win. Post his statement, he's probably still. He may be up 500K for the month. Yeah. But they know that if that person keeps betting,
the way that
that's going fucking minus 2 mil over 5 years.
Yeah, I've heard of people who like hit big on a multi, you know, up in the tens of thousands of dollars mark, and then, you know, from someone who goes putting $10 on a multi every so often, they go from $10, you know, maybe to $2,000 on a multi every so often. They gamble that winning away. They might withdraw a couple of thousand, but they gamble it away to the point where the bookie, you know, offers them deposit $2,500, you know, get 50% match and bonus bet. So they're going, I would never fucking deposit $2,500. But because they're so used to staking that amount after their big win, they might actually go ahead and do it. And I've seen people like in Discords and stuff that have done that, and they've just gambled it away, and they get into that trap of just depositing too big of sums, and they just lose that money management side of things. Even though you're a gambler, you still need the money management. Like, you're not going to be depositing hundreds and thousands of, well, not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds of dollars a week into bookmakers. You need to know, like, you got to set your limits, and that's the problem, and that's what the bookmakers are preying on. That people lose those limits, and then they just keep depositing and betting with large sums.
Well, unfortunately, that's what happens when you win, and sometimes winning actually fucks you more. Like Matt Hill, we interviewed.
If you win and you put like, imagine if I had $10 on it, not $1. And then they try hit it again next time with a bigger stake,
and then you're fucked. That mindset will literally drown you, like, straight away. And I actually feel sad for that guy that we all talking about on Instagram, and I genuinely feel sorry for him in terms of, it's not personal. He'll probably get angry if he's saying this if he ever sees it, but like the like tendencies he has and the emotions and the like, addictive shit that you can just blatantly see is sad. That someone, and that's just one person. There'd be millions around the world, thousands, tens of thousands in Australia. Like, they're fucked. They got no hope until they wake up one day and they've lost 5 million.
Like, even the ones that, like, there's some that message you saying down 50K, but just like that is an anomaly for them to even find your content and message you.
Yeah.
So like,
reading that's shattering though, and that's why like when like there are comments like, oh, everyone can control their gambling, or, you know, even my mates like, you're the fun police, and I'm like, bro, like, it's not. It's like, it can literally become like, yes, it could be a bad habit, but it's like a disease, bro. Like, the people that are addicted to drugs and shit, they don't just wake up addicted to drugs. Like, the same thing, like, if you have problem drinkers, your mates that drink way too much every time they drink. That doesn't just happen from day one. It's like a learnt habit, and then it becomes like a fucking problem. And it's the same with gambling. You can tell someone that gambles all the time, mate, just put your phone away, don't gamble. It ain't that easy. Like you can't just stop because you see something that triggers you, or you're sitting there, or you've had a bad day, and that's their vice, that's their get out, and you can hide it. We spoke about it with Jimmy. Like you could be sitting there punting. I've checked my phone 10 times in this podcast. I could have had 10 bets, and you none of you would have any idea.
I've hit 3 winners. Well,
well, no one can see my account.
Yeah.
And like that's how it's such a
bookie.
slippery slope. I can just put money in. I could bet. None of you have any idea. Just sit here emotionless, and it becomes like a thing where it can be fucking scary. Like I feel sorry for those people.
Touching on what you were just saying then as well is when if someone's addicted to drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, whatever, generally people have, I'd say, an empathetic reaction to people. I'd say a much more empathetic reaction to people. Generally, society, people would be like, oh, did they have a tough upbringing? Have they gone through a divorce? Has something happened in their life?
What triggered it?
What triggered it for them to get into alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, whatever it may be? Generally speaking with gambling, no different realistically, but people would say, oh, well, that's their fucking fault.
He's a dickhead.
Yeah. Why are they doing that?
Yeah.
Like, hang on a second. Where'd your empathy just go all of a sudden? It's releasing the same chemicals in the brain, but all of a sudden, people just instantly pin them as the reason behind it. But generally speaking, it's probably they've had a rough upbringing. Their dad was a degenerate gambler. They were influenced by certain things growing up. They're looking for an out in life, and they've just chosen gambling. But society just like, nah, it's their fault.
Well, that's where we want to go, like, in the next couple of years. We want to go down that helping awareness pathway where it's just like, again, Tom always says, like, we're not anti-gambling. We're not anti-betting. We're not anti-fucking whatever. But we're anti-uneducation and stupidity.
Anti-throw your life away. Like,
literally.
Yeah.
But, like, you boys sitting here at, whatever, 18, 19, whatever. We spoke to someone who's 50s yesterday, and he's had 35 years of, like, shit. And it's taken him 50 years to wake up. You boys are not lucky because you've done it yourself. I don't like to say anyone's ever lucky.
Make your own luck.
Yeah.
Correct. But there'd be
chance.
so many guys at your age who are going to go down the next 10 years and just wake up in 32 and they're fucked.
There's also thousands of blokes our age that would see our content and think that we're either dickheads or look at it for like 5 minutes and be like, nah, I can't be fucked doing this.
Yeah, that's one of the things I had.
A lot of it can't be fucked.
Yeah.
I've blokes at my gym, like, literally like, watch all of your shit, like, know that I'm on there. But then they still, like, come up to me.
They see you at the gym.
Yeah, they come up to me and show me, like, oh, these are my tips for the weekend. Like, I've got them in my notes. I'm like, I don't care. That is not how I do it.
That's what I have. Like, the most common one is someone looks through one of my accounts that they own, and they just see the betting history and the account balance. They're like, oh, bro, how do I want to get into this and shit. And
Give me a
like,
tip.
you
And
know what you're doing.
I'll send them a link to your Instagram and they'll have a look and they're just like, no, I can't be fucked. Just send me your tips for the next week. I'm like,
No, that's what they ask.
happens.
Like,
it's
so
always
true.
just the classic lines, just send me your tips
Send me
for the
a
next
tip,
race.
yeah.
Someone this morning said, are you just a tipping service? That's what his message is in the
saw that.
DMs. I don't know if he saw the better or what he saw, but
I responded to him this morning.
yeah, okay, I haven't seen it, but it's a
When I
little bit
missed
more
the
to
turn
it. What happened?
I said when I missed the turn off.
Yeah, no indicator.
Yeah, I don't have an indicator either. Disaster.
Anyway, I reckon we've
We'll wrap it.
we'll wrap it up. It's been a pretty good podcast. Cheers, lads.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Wally,
No worries, pleasure.
Mod,
Ollie.
pleasure to have you here, boys.
All
Looking
good.
forward to a few beers tonight. Obviously,
Definitely.
have a bit of a celebration.
100%.
Yeah, and I can't wait for like to clip this one up and hopefully a few people like wake the fuck up, like jump on board.
100%.
Jump on board. Like just try it. Give it fucking.
Don't even jump. Just
give it a
fucking
month.
learn.
Yeah.
Just
watch
think for
our
yourself.
free shit. Don't pay us. Just watch some of it.
Literally.
Give it 3 to 4 hours over a week,
Yeah.
and guarantee you, if you watch it and learn some shit, you'll get something out of it for
Yeah.
free. You don't have to pay us.
Even if you're busy, like it's not going anywhere.
Put it on
you
the
know?
fucking-
the course content's always going to be there. If
Correct.
you've got you got time this weekend, do an hour here, busy next week, that's fine. Go back in another hour. Like
Put it
no,
on
it's
while
not
you're
going
driving. Put it on
Yeah.
while you're at the gym.
Book a free call. Do whatever.
Free call.
Like,
I'm
chat to
going
us,
off the
send us
grid, so
DMs.
Tom's going to be doing all the calls. So
good
abuse
luck.
him. Do whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
But
do that.
no, thanks guys. Appreciate
Been
coming
elite.
down and
Yeah.
obviously
No
help.
worries, it was good.
Hopefully help people
Lovely,
from here.
boys. Beauty.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Done.
See you lads.
Beautiful.
Take care.
Dunskies.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christ. Merry Christ.
All good?
Thanks so much for that, mate.
Beautiful.
What's the damage?
What are we at? We always go over.
I was going to stop it at like 12, but then we just went on a roller coaster. So
How long do we have?
Oh, just give me a winning tip and I'll let you off.
At least he's listening.
Yeah. Before he thought the bookies were the guy in the aprons. The bookies with Ladbrokes and stuff. Yeah. And now it's clear.
But yeah,
You
the
got
amount
a
of
fresh
people
set
I
of
know
accounts?
that like know all your shit.
Yeah.
And like my brother talks to
I
like
said,
his
"Do you
mates
ever
at
open
work.
a betting account
And
online?"
his mates like message me
I-
like, got any tips for the weekend? Like,
There was a time.
or I go for beers and they're like,
20 years
oh
ago.
yeah, you're
when
gonna
I
be here for the races. You can give me
got
some
a,
tips.
um,
I'm like,
an
What
exercise
mates do it?
bike.
What mates do it?
you know how you
Laps,
do
I
it.
think?
Yeah.
It's not how it works, mate.
It's not about the horse at all.
No.
We don't
Yeah,
give a
and you
fuck
play
about
well,
I
the
said,
horse.
and I just punished myself with every time I fucked up, but I still go all in, like I'm just shit out.
Nah.
I'm a
He
dick.
plays poker. Played poker. He was on the exercise bike. Every time he lost, he punished himself.
Go a bit harder,
That's
but I'll
elite.
still go all in every time.
But no, it's all the same. Like I'm sure you can relate to that mindset of,
Don't
oh
forget
fuck
your
it, I'm
job.
going in. I want to
Oh
win.
yeah,
today."
you probably should.
I don't know how I go with this because it could be a positive that I already know I'm not a punter.
Oh, bro, the
You
investing
know what I mean?
people.
Like, that's got to be a win.
You're a lot
No,
like
there's the people that come like that are like the
'Cause
ones
I'm
that are
shit
most
at that.
successful because they don't treat it like gambling. They've never gambled before,
Yeah.
and they know that this is going to be for making money, not just fun or whatever. So there you go.
There was a bloke that said he had a system. He was an old bloke. He was actually my age now, but I was about probably 70 kilos, living in Collingwood, being all bohemian. And he was like,
Like Steve.
sitting there having a beer, and he was about 50 something, and he goes, "Oh, well, I've got a fucking system at the casino." I'm going, yeah, right. And we'd never even been to the casino, right? It was pretty big. And he goes, "I've got a system.
Martin go.
And the secret is I need a partner." I'm going, "Oh yeah, here we go." He said, what's the system?" He goes, "Right, so what you gotta do is I go in there and I say I've got $500 in this pocket and I give it to you and $500 in this pocket and I bet on fucking roulette or whatever it is, I don't even know. Bet on the roulette and when I'm up, I give you this money and put it in this pocket and do that, and when I'm up 500 and it's in this pocket, you get me out of there. That's my only job.
As soon as he's
That
up,
was
he's
really my
carrying
only
out.
job. Get me out of there. And he was like built like a brick shit house, and I was about 70 kilos, like a cutie little hippie. And I went, all right, I'll fucking do that. So we went there,
She'll film this.
and we got there, and it happened. I'm going, I don't know how that happened, but I had 1,000 in this pocket and 500, whatever it was, that meant I had to get him out of there. And he said, and he was right. And he goes, "Yeah, well, let's fucking make some for drinks.
Oh,
Let's make some more for drinks. Let's get, we'll fucking winning." I'm going, I said, "Big fish." I said, "Big fish, I've made a promise. I don't like it. I don't like being in here, but it doesn't bother me to get banned for life. But in 7 seconds, I'm going to jump on your back and I'm going to hold you until they kick us both out.
That's
Alright? And you'll get banned, and that'll shit you more than me." He's going, "You're a cunt." I'm going, "I'm a cunt who stands by his word." And I got to the point where I put my hand on his shoulder.
he's like, all right.
And I got him out of there, and he dropped me off
Thanks, man.
and fucked off. And I saw him a couple of months later.
Did he go back?
Hey. Yeah, he went back.
The same day.
Yeah, he goes, "Oh, shut up." I dropped you off and I went back.
Yeah.
Lead a horse to water.
Do you
No,
guys
he said
have
last
the
time.
league casino here? Do they have the auto shuffler, or is it an actual proper?
We can go have a look if you want.
Auto. I think it's auto shuffler
No, it's auto.
for blackjack. Yeah, particularly on the smaller tables,
I haven't
Yeah.
been
and it's
seen
push
it.
on 22 for the smaller tables as
Yeah,
well.
they just introduced that in Adelaide.
They only just introduced that.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Nah, we didn't have
Oh, it's
free
been like that since I ever remember.
Yeah, we didn't have free bet. It was just classic blackjack. Then they brought free bet across.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
it's when like when you split or double, they
Oh,
make
yeah.
money for you.
Yeah.
Me,
Oh, right.
yeah.
Casino Wars.
Yeah.
Me and Lucas spent all this time like learning match betting, so not match betting, like high-low card counting. So we're gonna go in and
Yeah, I've been interested in it. I want to, because you learn like the.
You reckon you can beat him?
I don't reckon it's that hard.
Oh, it's not, mate. It's
It's
just
not hard at all.
it's the speed. The deal is.
It'd be the speed,
fast.
but you just that'd become muscle memory.
It's +1, 0,
Plus,
or negative
yeah.
one. That's
It would be. It's and once you learn that, to play
Leave it on.
blackjack,
You got my story.
you're like 49.5% of a chance of winning or something, and then you just start counting to get that extra.
You get 51.2.
You just get beat up in the back room where there's no
And
cameras. That's the only
especially,
problem.
I know in I saw something on in America, like Vegas, it's like
Yeah.
they're a bit more aware.
Oh yeah.
Like if you go into the fucking casino in Adelaide or Lonnie,
Yeah.
the dealer does not give a fuck.
No,
He
exactly.
has no idea what he's dealing with.
The only problem is you've got to play it over such a large period of time for your edge to come to the floor, and then that's when they potentially start being like, oh, guys,
So that
if you
yeah.
only got
I turn that table side
Yeah.
1% edge, mate.
I just put your
Yeah,
ball.
literally. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah, you'd have to be
You can
a full
even put
operation.
one
Yeah. Do you need my laptop? Should we just worry about it Monday? Only because I need to get back to work. I didn't take
Work?
today off. Yeah. I haven't had a message yet. That was a great result.
Get your schnoz out of it, Max.
Okay. We'll deal with Max's schnoz in a second.
We'll get that on. We'll get the office. We'll get some footage of that. JP shit footage. Once me serving bombs, you kicking goals from
Torbs.
50.
Where do you play?
Back pocket.
Back.
Locked on. And he just nails. That's all he's
I was right near him. Let's
He like texts me, he's like driving to footy, he's like, I'm so angry, I'm gonna nail someone today. I'm like, fuck. Did you put that catch on the story in the end?
Yeah.
Did you see that? His catch in cricket?
No one would have known it was him.
Nah, no one would.
No, I didn't say it.
Oh, absolutely. That was actually a good catch.
It was actually a belt, and it was one of the games as well, which was